guys can hear me okay. Let me turn my mic up just a little bit. Let's see how this sounds. And if I did this right, hopefully, yes. All right, we got everything good. So cool. All right. Welcome in, everybody. It has been a while. I can't remember the last time I streamed. It's probably been like a couple months or so. Let me go through the chat real quick and say hi to everybody. Let's see. Rigo33, welcome in. Oh, I need to fix this. Give me a second, guys. There we go. All right. Henry, my boy, welcome in. Stay resilient. Epic Luigi Bros, welcome in. Emmett, what is up? JMO Dub, what's up? AX, it's actually out right now. It's on Spotify and YouTube. So the soundtrack is available to listen to right now. Fernando, what is up? S. Remy, what's going up? What's going on? No, what's going on? Charles, what's up? Robano, hello. Did I say hi? I did say hi. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Nice shirt. Thank you. All right, so we're going to be doing things a little bit different today. So this is kind of like my new format for a live stream. After kind of like going through the previous live streams, seeing what you guys like, what you guys don't like. It seems like discussion is the main thing that you guys want. How frequent these live streams will be, it's kind of hard to say. Maybe once a month or so. And of course, it just doesn't have to be Cobra Kai. Maybe I'll do a Rocky live stream as well. You know, whatever anime what's going on as far as that goes. Let's see. Monica Bass, welcome in. I'll answer your guys' questions here in a second. But appreciate everybody that's stopping in, of course. I'll try to get to everybody as much as I can. So anyway, doing that. So as part of these live stream discussions, I'm going to be doing something I haven't done before. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a StreamYard link for you guys to come up and chat here in a little bit. So that way I kind of want to hear you guys' thoughts about the season, what you guys liked, what you guys didn't like, what your favorite fight scene was. So the cool thing about the StreamYard link, you can join from your phone, you can join from desktop. So I'm going to also lay a few ground rules too. To participate in the StreamYard, you guys got to be 18 or older. If I don't know you personally, you got to cam up. If I do know you fairly well, whether you're a creator or whatnot, you don't have to cam up. Just to kind of like weed out trolls and stuff like that. You know, trolls, of course, are one of those things that occur a lot. So you guys know how it is. So that being said, I'm just gonna go through some stuff before we get into my thoughts of the season and whatnot. So, me personally, first off, I want to thank Netflix for giving me early access to the season. I was actually able to view the season a week ahead of time, look at some things, and kind of get the video out as soon as I was able to. Special thanks again to Netflix for letting me do that. If you check out the video description of my latest video, they were kind enough to do that for me. I've actually been doing okay health-wise. I've actually kind of been coming down with a little bit of a sore throat that thankfully kind of went away this morning. So I think it's kind of a head cold. I felt a little drowsy on stream, so I've been doing what I can to stay awake and come through for you guys and stuff like that. So, depending on how I feel afterwards, I'll probably edit, get another video out tonight. My plan is to try to get out as many videos as I can within the next couple of weeks. As far as things like that. So yes, Nerd Talk, it is a spoiler discussion, so we are talking about spoilers here, so of course I should have mentioned that. Start of the stream, if you have not seen Cobra Kai season 6 part 2, I would click out this live stream right now because we are discussing spoilers. So I'm trying to think what else has been new as of late. Taekwondo is going pretty good. I test for yellow this coming Friday, so I'm very excited about that. Still continuing with the journey. Dropped about 15 pounds so far, which I'm really psyched about. I kind of haven't been on as good as my diet this past week because I've been sick and everything, and I've been just trying to eat what I can to kind of like maintain my energy and also kind of clear out my sinuses and things like that. So that's kind of what's been going on. So lower the music. Yes, thank you. If there's an audio balance that's off, guys, feel free to let me know. Thanks, S. Raimi, I guess Sam Raimi, I'm not sure. Thank you. Dennis lives. Drew, what's going on, man? So that's what's going on. I'm psyched for the new Power Rangers games coming out on December 10th. I'll be doing a live stream that launch weekend as well with some friends of mine, so stay tuned for that. So yeah, before we get into discussion, I want to kind of get your guys' thoughts on some of these Cobra Kai memes that I've been sent. Actually, I need to save another one a friend sent me just now. Oh man, these memes are so great. Okay, give me a second, guys. Let's see what's going on here. Ramiro, what's up? We have one last chance for yes, we do. Cam, welcome in. Lucifer, welcome in. Nerd Talk, welcome in. Degenerate, welcome in. Let's see. Let me go here to the meme folder. Let me see if this will work. Actually, I need to do this first. I'm gonna share some of these past memes too, see what you guys think. I'm a little bit of a meme lord, but we'll see what you guys think here. Here we go. And now I have to add this as a source. Will this not really? This won't work as a capture? It's kind of lame. Nope. That won't work. Okay. Let's see. Imtiaz, welcome in. Give me a second, guys. I might have to actually do a display capture here. Not that one. All right, here we go. All right, so this one was sent to me today by one of my friends. So obviously, this is where Quan died, right? At least Robbie got his room back. Like, dude, that's so terrible, but it's so, oh man, so good. I'm a little bit of dark humor, so let me know what you guys think about this. On a scale of 1 to 10, how fire is this meme? I have no credit for this meme, so this is not mine. But that's cold. Robbie got his room back. So let me see how many people say too soon, too soon. Alright. Let's see. I'm gonna go through some of these other ones as well. Some of these are stuff I've made or like just thumbnails and whatnot. So this is for my good friend Tyler. So as we know, like the Miyagi or the Daniel memes are been pretty harsh for season 6 part 1. Certified Glazer, man. This is to anybody that's anti-Daniel, this meme's for you. Welcome to everybody else that's just joining in. We're doing just a meme review real quick as well now. He is a Glazer. You know, it's one of those things. Here's gonna be a little bit of a hot take, right? So for me, I understand to a point why Daniel puts Miyagi on a pedestal. I mean, he was a really good teacher, and it's like I said this in my Discord server yesterday too. Like, if you had somebody like a Miyagi, you probably would put them on a pedestal too, because you know Miyagi was really good. But the thing is, when you put people on a pedestal, you dehumanize them because you're not embracing who they are, and who they are is human. So you know, of course, as Miyagi learned just as much from Daniel, just as Daniel learned as much as Miyagi. So you know, that's kind of my take on the matter. So, but Daniel does put Miyagi on a pedestal a little too much, because you know, forgetting that he's human. So leave Miyagi alone. So. Okay, this one, if you guys have been around since my early day of the channel, this is a meme that I've made. And maybe I'll make a short on this one day too. Who would win Angry Karate Protege versus One Locker Boy? That's the quote. Oh, also I need to give me a second. I need to change the playlist here. Let's see. Shuffle. There we go. 10 fire. Yeah, like everybody like seemed to like this meme. It's just, you know, the fact that Robbie's greatest enemy was a locker. So let's see here. This one is another one I made. For those of you guys that are kind of like my cousin Vinny fans, like I am too. Of course, I'll never forget what Mr. Miyagi told me. Nobody pulls the wolves over at the eye of the Gambino, especially this one. Never mind, my cousin Vinny said that. You're trying to seduce me with this music. This is actually a remix of Sagat's music. I pretty much listen to all kinds of stuff and whatnot, so. Alright. This one, probably like the best Terry Silver meme I've ever made. You just don't want to admit there's always been a little dog in you. Daniel had that dog in him in season 6, episode 2. I'm just saying. So. Wait, Quan versus Clarence? Is that supposed to be Clarence? You put Clarence, but I guess it's meant to be Clarence, so. Man, I don't know. Clarence might take that one, just saying. For some reason, this piece of just a little bit. Alright. Is this it? Oh, I have to go backwards. Barnes versus Arson? Oh my god. Not a meme per se, but for those of you guys that missed it earlier this week, I put out my Kim Sung-young video, and C.S. Lee, the actor for Kim Sung-young, shouted it out. So big thanks to C.S. Lee for doing that. Much appreciated. At this point, pretty much I've had more actors associated with the Cobra Kai dojo than Miyagi or Eagle Fang shot me out. So far it's been Lisa Hannah Kim, which is who plays Kim Da-eun. Sean Kanan, Mike Barnes shouted me out. Kim Sung, of course now Master Kim Sung-young, played by C.S. Lee. So that was a very cool moment for me that happens. Okay, you guys will not get this one if you've never seen Three Ninjas Kick Back. It's kind of more about the older audience, but if you guys remember one of my earlier shorts about kind of comparing I forgot this guy's name, Koga from Three Ninjas Kick Back compared to Sato. They're pretty much, it's just the same movie, but like Karate Kid Part 2 and Three Ninjas Kick Back, the same movie. So okay, this one I always thought was just hilarious, just because Robbie should have known better. So of course, whoops, hope you don't lose anything important. Actually, Gmail automatically saves my drafts. Sean gets mad. Robbie gets beat up again. I don't know why Robbie keeps getting into these situations, but hey, you know, it is what it is. So. Alright. Let's see what else we got. So I was explaining this to a friend last night. I've always, like, when I'm trying to like do thumbnails together, right? I'm doing like screenshots and stuff like that. I just happen to capture Kreese doing this, and just the way he's saying thick or something here. This just thought it was pretty funny. So, and this is probably like my favorite like chosen meme of all time. Actually, let me change this song. Okay, this is not fitting. Oh, this is a good one. Kim and Chosen get married. Rickenberger, welcome in. TJ, what's up, man? This is probably like another favorite Karate Kid meme of mine. You could have killed him, couldn't you? Height. Well, why didn't you then? He's embarrassed. No way he called a friend to help him concoct elaborate plot, which is very true. Miyagi was ahead of his time, for the most part. We got a hater in the chat. We always have haters in the chat. It is what it is, man. So. Deleted scene from season 5. You're playing with fire. Nuck if you buck. Chosen the tough guy. And of course, this one. I don't know what it was about this face of Robbie. He just always looked bug-eyed to me for some reason. But anyway, those were my attempt at memeing Cobra Kai. Probably not the best, but you know, it is what it is. Where are these memes posted? They were posted on my channel. I'll post some more if you want. If you guys like them, I'll post them on my the community post. So, real quick, I am going to briefly discuss my overall thoughts of season 6, part 2. But first, let me get to some comments from you guys. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Let's see. Episode 10 was very wild. Probably one of my favorite episodes. Kreese is dead meat for Master Kim. I agree. Yeah, Silver was shocked, just like Robana said. Let me know how the audio sounds to you guys. Let's see. Well wishes on your yellow belt. Thank you very much. I have been drinking water. I was drinking tea nonstop. Thankfully, I was able to kind of get some recordings out for yesterday. I have the recording done for tonight's video. It's just now trying to kind of get it out. Also, for the video itself, it's going to be my predictions video for part 3. There is some information out there on part 3 that's released by Netflix. I will say I try not to look at the leaks and stuff like that, just to kind of like not give away too much and whatnot. But yeah, I actually shouted no at the kiss between Chosen and Kim. I was like, no, dude. But you know, it's kind of a funny pairing. They made it work and whatnot. So, yes, Sean would have been amazing at the Sekai Tekai. It would have been really cool to see him. So, Savage, Briss, welcome in. Why? Oh, there we go. So I know a lot of people, actually I'll say this question for my overall thoughts and whatnot. So leave Miyagi alone. Exactly. YouTube, welcome in. Quan's ghost will fight the ghost of Snake in the finals. Exactly. Let's see. Anybody, Will, welcome in. Good question. I would say no, but we'll see. You know, anything's possible at this point. I feel like we need to see Kim Sung Young. Woos Tech, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Welcome in. Yeah, we have to see Kim Sung Young because he's just been kind of like a lore heavy character. He's like the evil and anti Miyagi. So I think we definitely have to see him. So, let's see. Yes. A lot of very, very, very talented martial artists I've seen playing the other teams from the Sekai Taikai. Kim and Chosen get married to have karate kids. Let's see. Love part 2. Ghostwalker, welcome in, but I wish Dimitri. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things I called in my latest Dimitri video that I put out when part 1 came out. He's basically kind of going through his his Hawk arc, so to speak, where he's kind of a bit of an a-hole until he finally comes to his senses and whatnot. So, Dimmy up, welcome in. Actually, not seem like a bad dude. He is awkward. Yeah, it's one of those things where he's just like kind of mistreated. Because he defended Sam from Cobra Kai on 2 separate occasions. So, when Kreese, yes. I had thought about doing Stingray and Hawk, but I just decided to settle on Hawk because it was just kind of got the point across. So, Jeremy, welcome in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button, show no mercy to your enemies. Congrats on the yellow belt. Thank you. I'm not a yellow belt yet, but I'm testing for it this Friday and stuff like that. So, short answer on this, yes. Mainly because I'll talk about in the video that gets released tonight, depending on how I feel after the stream. If not, I'm going to talk about like why he's going to be out for Kreese and stuff like that. So that being said, I think we got everybody's general comments out of the way. So let me I didn't realize the music was still going. Oh well. So here are my overall thoughts for season 6. I thought it was a lot better than part 1. A lot of the fights were on point. I think the fights lived up to the hype that a lot of the actors I saw were teasing the fights. Brandon H. Lee, Tanner Buchanan, Jacob Bertrand. The fights lived up to the expectations. Easily, probably the best of the fights in the entire series, in my personal opinion. I think the tournament was well done. I know a lot of people are kind of mixed on the brawl. I've seen some people kind of hate the brawl because like, oh, it's another brawl. I'm like, come on, dude, it's Cobra Kai tradition. There was brawls in seasons 2, 3, and 5. I mean, what do you expect? There's always going to be like a big fight near the end. So I think for, you know, it was a good way to kind of have the tournament end ambiguously. As I've said many times, Cobra Kai is written like a wrestling show. You're going to have some characters look strong, some characters, you know, kind of only win on certain conditions. So it was well written, in my opinion. The fact that it wasn't predictable to where, you know, Miyagi-Do just beats everybody, or Cobra Kai beats everybody, and you know they have like tough competitors like in Iron Dragons. I think it was just you know, really well done as far as that goes. I know, obviously, like I myself, I didn't like the fact that Johnny and Daniel fought again at the end of part 1, but I think it was resolved pretty well in part 2. And you know, of course, some people are also kind of complaining. Believe it or not, I know this is crazy to say. I also know some people were complaining about the return of Silver, but I mean, I had always called it the fact that, you know, Silver was going to appear again, like before the show ended. There was no way he was not going to appear one last time. And you know, I was glad for that. I loved the Kreese versus Silver fight. I knew it's a fight that was going to be like a long time coming. So it was really, really good as far as that goes. Zara was awesome. Axel was awesome. Sensei Wolf was awesome. Shout out to William Christopher Ford too. They were really saving Dennis's appearances and whatnot. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm trying to think if there was anything I didn't like about the season. Because I'm not going to say the show's perfect, right? I mean, I just put out a video criticizing the writers treating Devin's character and how like it didn't make sense and stuff like that. So, I'm sure maybe something will kind of come to me like of what I didn't like about the season. But yeah, I can't really think of anything at the moment. But you know, I'm sure if I don't say it here and now, doesn't mean I won't criticize something in the future. So it is what it is. Also, I need to. I had this on live chat. There we go. No, and I don't get the overhate on Sam. I mean, it's just like it's one of those things where people have selective outrage, right? It's like when which hot take, which I'm still standing by. Johnny was a hypocrite for calling out Miyagi because he did those same things. Doesn't mean I like Johnny's character any less, but I think a lot of people, you know, do the whole thing of like, you know, like Sam calls it. No, like the person that's most directly responsible for Kwan's death is Kreese. He should have never brought the Unjang-do. You know, it was all him. So people need to get out of here with that. Hot takeover. Premature congratulations, thanks. Yeah, that's very sad. But maybe we'll see flashbacks of Kwan or something like that too. But my thing about Kwan's death, another hot take. His death was kind of the most logical one, because better him than an established character. Because imagine if Miguel was killed, imagine if Robbie was killed, imagine if Hawk was killed. There would have been an uproar. People would have been boycotting the show, like I'm not watching it again, blah 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 blah. So it was like the logical way out. So of course there's somebody lawn mowing right now when I'm streaming. It is what it is. Drew, yes, Terry is the GOAT. Thomas Ian Griffith always kills it. He's probably the most memorable villain at this show and whatnot. Ramiro, I got this from Amazon. Let's see. Yes, one of my favorite moments in the series for sure. One of my favorite moments for sure. So, not enough Devin and Kenny. Yeah, I will say I did like how they treated Kenny's character. Kenny's comeback was really good. Yes. Another friend when I was talking about this before too and whatnot. So, but yeah, it's sad that very sad that, you know, Kwan was the one to die. But it also kind of goes. It's like the main question is going to be like now to like Kreese and Kim Da-eun and Kim Sun-young. It's like, is that philosophy really worth it? You know. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to say the least. So okay. I think I've kind of answered all the questions I've had here too. So I'm going to fade out this music and we'll get to the live discussion, guys. So I will be right back, guys, while I get everything set up. So I'll be here. So stay tuned. Actually, I'll put the music back on. Actually, I need to do something real quick here, then I'll be right back. All right, be right back, guys. All right, guys, let me go from here. There we go. All right, we'll see. Okay, I gotta fix this thing now too. No, whoa, what the hell here? What in the hell happened? Give me a second, guys. We are. Okay, why did this just take a... All right, guys, give me a moment. There we go. All right, let's see. All right, we got our first guest backstage. Drew, can you hear me? Dude, what's going on, man? We finally the meeting of the minds here.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me on to chat about this. I just watched it yesterday, like all in one sitting, and I was like coming to it from a while away.
Right.
And so I definitely have some thoughts, but it's good to be here.
Yeah, man. And guys, if you don't know Drew, he is the co-host of the Last Row podcast. They talk about all kinds of different stuff, not just Karate Kid. I know you guys have done Mighty Ducks, Back to the Future, right? Yes.
We didn't do those yet. We've talked about them a
Okay.
bunch, but a lot of like 80s, 90s action, a lot of
Mhm.
stuff like the Disney movies, stuff like that. It's fun times.
Yeah, for sure. And I've met Drew through Ken Cole, another notable YouTuber in the Cobra Kai space, which I'm kind of sad he hasn't seen part two yet because I know he's been busy doing some real some movie stuff, which I'm excited to see about with him doing that. So, but Drew, thanks again for coming on. So yeah, let me hear your initial thoughts of season six, part two.
So I'll say a couple things, and I agree with what you said when in the sort of the first part of the show. What obviously, I mean, anyone that knows me knows I'm a Terry Silver fanboy. So I think the last part of the season, I didn't expect to see him like in part one. I don't know, I
Right.
just didn't expect it, but I was hoping that we would sort of get him back. I liked that it wasn't again purely set in the valley. Like I like the fact that it was focused on the tournament, and I like that there was a lot of action with that. I love the fight choreography. I thought some of the fights were awesome, and I liked that it was sort of like a simpler plot in that regard. The only thing I guess I maybe, and it's not that it was not good, but I didn't love like the constant teen drama stuff. Like that for me is just
Yeah.
something that I'm not usually into, but I get that why it's in there.
Right.
I think some of that is a little bit like, okay, but when Sensei William Christopher Ford showed up, like that
Oh yeah.
blew my mind because I know like on a bunch of the streams, like when we talked to him a while ago, I mean, he's honestly one of the nicest people on the planet,
Oh, for
like
sure.
such an awesome dude. Being able to see him kind of return as Dennis and get a little bit more there was so cool. I think for fans of Karate Kid 3. And the way that they sort of reintroduced Terry, I wasn't sure how they were going to do it, and I think it wasn't just, oh, here's a little cameo. Like he's obviously integral to the plot here, and I
Right.
like that. Obviously him and Kreese don't have they have unfinished business,
Hmm.
and I like where that started to go a little bit too. And anyone that's a Karate Kid 3 fan, Terry in the bathtub again was like the
Exactly.
ultimate callback.
Exactly.
So for me, I love that.
For sure. And real quick, let me shout Henry. Thank you for the $5 super chat. What was that? Not okay. There we go. If both of you, oh, here's a question for both of us. If
Oh,
both of you were given the keys, the IPs to Cobra Kai, where would you take Cobra Kai from here? Movie, another season, or end it here? That is a good question. Drew, I'll let you answer that first since you're the on-screen
uh,
guest here.
okay, so that's a great question, by the way. And I'll say again, maybe sticking with the Terry Silver theme. I know Hayden teased like this idea of doing like a Dynatox spin-off.
Right.
Like I would love like either a young Terry series with him and Kreese and all that. We get
Mhm.
some of the flashbacks. So I think, if you could have Tom C and Griffith playing sort of like a modern day Silver with doing some flashbacks or whatever, flash forwards, whatever you want to do. I
Right.
would love that, or a young Miyagi series. And I think we got a little bit of a taste of what that could be.
Right.
So I think for me, I would love to see some of the legacy characters, but a lot of the stuff done maybe like pre Cobra Kai timeline, if that makes sense. That's my
Right.
dream scenario.
For sure. Yeah, no, there's so many the thing is too is just like the way they've established Cobra Kai, there's so many spin-offs you could do with it. I mean, it's almost like I know this is kind of like maybe like a wild take to say, but it's almost like its own MCU. Like you said, I would easily be down for a Terry Silver spinoff. I personally, if they were to say, "Hey, Stryfe, come up with an idea," I would totally dive into a Young Miyagi. That'd probably be my first project. I
Yeah.
think also, and what I would do with that Young Miyagi spinoff, which is Big Three, if you're listening, I'm giving you some ideas here. I would not only explore Miyagi's life from from leaving Okinawa to Karate Kid, up into Karate Kid, but I also would use that to expand upon the lore of Sato and Kim Sung Young because I know that's another thing they need to really answer in part three of like
Yeah.
why these two beefing. And you could also even dive more into Chosen's early childhood there too, and maybe like a snippet of Daniel of like how his father passing away kind of affected him, which is why he found a father figure in Miyagi. So that would probably be like my big spinoff, and even like modern day. I mean, Yuji has like enough chops that he could carry a spinoff on his own.
Oh yeah.
That's what I would really like, and that's personally what I would do with with the spinoff. So, um, favorite fight in part two.
Oh man, it's so hard to pick because like there's so many good ones. I actually again, maybe sticking with the Terry thing, it's not the best choreographed fight because it's obviously like not the most hardcore martial arts, but I
Right.
loved actually the little brawl between
Yeah.
Silver and Kreese
Yeah.
because it's been a long time coming, you know, like you anticipate that. But anything with Brandon Lee was incredible too.
Hmm.
Like he's such an amazing martial artist. And I also just love Louis Tan. I think he's awesome.
Right.
And like even him in the giant brawl, like you said it earlier, people don't like the brawl, but like it is kind of like a tradition. And I'd rather see this brawl than like the fight in the school. Like it made more sense to me here. Like I love
Right.
the school fight, obviously, but I actually kind of like that because it was so like just crazy and everybody was sort of going at it. I know it's a cop out answer, but
No, see, the thing was, and it's like I said this earlier, right? Like Cobra Kai is literally written like a wrestling show, and that brawl was kind of needed in place because then people would have been complaining of like, oh, Daniel and Johnny easily beat Sensei Wolf, or oh, this person beat this person. You
yeah,
know, it's just like you're never going to be happy. So I think that was kind of like the best way to settle it. And even with Daniel joining in, the fact that Sensei Wolf was still able to take them 2-on-1, that kind of just sets them up for something down the road
yeah.
even better. Um, for me, I absolutely have to say the last point fight between Robbie and Quan. And one
Oh,
of my favorite details, I talked about this in the Easter egg breakdown, what a lot of people, and I personally haven't seen anybody talk about this, I could be wrong. So the way Robbie scored the last point on Quan, right? You know how so Robbie was going for a kick and Quan was going for a punch. That happened in season 4,
mm-hmm.
which tied Hawk and Robbie 1-1 before went to sudden death. And I think Robbie learned from that fight too, which also kind of shows some really nice character progression. The fact that he was able to kind of learn from that, because looking back at the footage, it's kind of ambiguous where either Robbie was kind of going for a punch, maybe it was just like kind of some shot editing thing, or like a kick.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that he learned from Hawk to do that last point on Quan, it kind of ties back to Hawk learning what little he knew from Eagle Fang, where he used that same move to win over Robbie that Johnny used to win over not win over
Yeah.
Daniel, but to counter the pressure point. So I love like little moments like that. Personally,
It's
so
poetic when you put it that way too. And I watched your video and it was like spot on when you look at the shots. It's pretty well done. And
yeah,
like I think you mentioned like the Robbie character arc too. Like I actually really liked that character arc. And I know like he grew quite a bit. And I think they gave him like a chance to kind of show what he could do. And I like the interaction between him and Miguel, and like Miguel growing too, because he was sort of like, you know, angry that maybe he wasn't the captain and he was sort of resentful. And then you saw at the end when he was giving him that speech, like, be a leader and lead for us and like we'll follow you. And I just like kind of gave me a little bit of goosebumps. I really liked that part a lot. And
right.
I love the fact that it was like this high stakes tournament. And it reminds me of Sidekicks, Best of the Best, like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on purpose, right? They do that, which is good. But I think that's what I liked so much about part 2 versus part 1. Part 1 was fine, but it was like more of a setup for all of this. So it'll be interesting how it fits between like the two bookends with like part 1 and 3. But I love the progression of the characters there, and like how both Miguel and Robbie sort of grew in their own way. And I thought that was really well done.
Exactly, dude. This was Robbie's time to shine. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, I was so after watching that, I was like, man, I'm Team Robbie and Team Kenny, Kenny now at
Yeah.
this point. So just because Robbie needed his time to shine, and like I think just the fact that now, because like I know a lot of people were kind of upset of like, well, Hawk got nerfed, but I was like, well, if you look at it, Hawk's entire arc was season 2 through season 4.
Hmm.
Miguel obviously was the center of season 1. He had his arcs in seasons 2, 3, and 4, and it's just like, I mean, Robbie would just always happen to come up short. So just the fact that he finally got that, and just like that fight too was just so well done. Let me look at the chat real quick. Let's see. Tan Lei, welcome in. It says, "What is your prediction for part 3? And is there a chance for the next Karate Kid to make a cameo?" Anybody else that wants to come up and hit the link, you're welcome to do so as well. Like I said, just a reminder, preferably anybody 18 and up. If I don't know you personally, or it's if your first time coming on, preferably cam up. But go ahead, Drew.
Man, so it's a tricky one, especially the way that it ends on the cliffhanger, right? So I think you got to wonder, like, when you see somebody, I'm assuming he's dead, right? There's a pool of
Right.
blood. You gotta assume that that obviously he died. Does that bring people together, especially when you see like Kreese and Silver at odds, and then it's obviously the knife that Kreese brought there, like he going to feel responsible? Do they team up? And then is it like, is there another big bad, or it like, are they all kicked out? What do they do with the tournament? So I think that's like the biggest question that I have. I think in regards to like the next Karate Kid, it's I think they said this before, right? They don't want to do a cameo just to do one, so it's got to make sense within the confines of the story. And I'd be curious to see how they do it. I think it would have to come from Daniel exploring Mr. Miyagi's backstory more and like his past. And I think that would be like the only way. But what is it? There's 5 episodes left, right?
Right.
Like I don't know how you're gonna do that within resolving the Sekai Taikai and then doing all that and then wrapping everything up. So it's going to be a little tricky. And then you got to assume that, the last episode or so, like it's not going to end there. Like they're going to probably go back to the valley and sort of figure that out. So, man, I really don't know what's going to
Yeah. Have you, I was going to ask you real quick, have you seen, so Netflix has put this out after part 1 and part 2. Have you seen Inside the Dojo yet?
Not yet. No, I haven't watched it
Okay.
yet.
So
I'll have to.
So there are some very brief sneak peeks of part 3. So you want me to tell you some of them? If
Yeah,
not,
you can say it. If it's on Netflix, I don't mind as long as it's not like
it's
a
not
leak.
leaks or nothing. Yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
I prefer not to discuss leaks. So there's 3 very distinctive shots or like little scenes that show. The first one is showing Daniel sitting down with Amanda and Chosen, and then there's a blonde character with her back turned to the camera. They're all like sitting at like outside. It looks like a country club or a ranch or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next little shot to show is, I guess, like Zapka is either directing or producing that scene. The next one is it's a rematch of Robbie and Axel, but not at the Sekai Taikai, at the All Valley. But in the background, you know it's the All Valley because it has that yellow logo where it says All Valley Sports Arena. There's also the Sekai Taikai banner in the background too. So somehow they're relocating the tournament from Barcelona to the USA. And the last thing we really see that John Hurwitz mentioned about, like, will Daniel find more answers about Miyagi? Daniel was fighting a bunch of skeletons at the Miyagi-Do dojo, and there's like fog and stuff like that. So
That's cool.
It's gonna be. Definitely go check it out if you haven't seen
Yeah,
it already, so.
that's cool. Yeah, I think that the thing that's interesting about that is like, okay, them going back to California, it's like, why would they relocate it? Is it because of the death? Is there a time jump of some sort? Like, I don't know if they showed anything like that in there, but that's really interesting. And then I am glad to get more of Miyagi's backstory. Like one of my favorite scenes of the whole season was that old Sekai Taikai shot. Right. The way they shot it was like awesome. It looked so cool. The way that it looked vintage. And I thought the actor that played young Miyagi, like, you want to show like just a very teaser of someone that could probably carry a series. Like he looked like he did a great job.
Exactly.
So that sounds awesome.
Let's see. Jeremy asked, this is for me. Why the hell did Quan maniacally laugh when grabbing the Do if he wasn't even trying to go after anyone? To me, so my personal thought on this is that it just basically goes back to, and it's that philosophy that got Quan killed in the first place of, focusing on the anger, focusing on the rage and things like that. Are you a Yakuza fan at all, Drew?
Are you talking about the video game series or I haven't played them, but I know of them.
Okay, so it's like, I don't. For me, that was like a very Goro Majima thing for Quan to do, because like, especially for those that are unfamiliar with the series, Goro Majima's nickname is the Mad Dog Shimano, and there's like this very key event in Yakuza 0 that puts him over the edge, and he has this like recurring thing where he laughs maniacally, and he also has like a knife that looks like a Unjangdo and stuff like that. But Jeremy, to answer your question, I think at that point he was just concerned about hurting Axel, because the fact that Axel, stepped in when he was fighting, when Quan was fighting Robbie and Sam, and not to mention they did have that run-in in episode 8, Snakes on a Plane, where Sam and Axel ran into Quan and Yun Jin. So another thing I was going to ask you, Drew, which is somewhat related, somewhat not related, because I was looking at our Twitter DMs and you showed me the picture of your Green Ranger figure. What is your thoughts about, and I'm kind of curious to know, because I know you're a Power Ranger fan too, if there wasn't an NPR reboot, how do you feel about Tanner Buchanan playing Tommy?
Oh man, that could be some good casting there. I think he's underrated, man. Like, I know people always say like, oh, there's fanboys of Tanner, but I think he's great. Like, I think he'd be awesome. I would actually love it. And I know they've rebooted it a couple times here, but like, I'd be all for it, man. If they
Yeah,
did it. Green Ranger is one of my all-time favorites. I just love the character. I love the like I don't know, I think any if you grew up watching that show or you saw that, like I just remember like the mystery of the Green Ranger was so
right,
awesome
right.
growing up. It would be great. I think you do a great job.
Right, for sure. And like one of my latest Rob video I did too. I mentioned like some of the comparisons of Robbie's art of like kind of green with evil. Not to mention in Long Long Way From Home, he has that green plaid shirt.
Yeah.
And I was doing some research. He's actually one of the most fan casted people as like a Tommy, like in a reboot and things like that. So no, it's gonna be really interesting. And I've always said too that there would be like if you would have easily put Tanner, Mary, Sholo, Jacob, Gianni, and Peyton, they could have easily done like an MMPR reboot. Instead, Hasbro selling off the franchise and things like that and stuff. So
I was gonna say when you were thinking about that,
yeah,
I was thinking about every single one of them as different Power
right,
Rangers.
exactly.
Be
So
pretty awesome.
yeah, Drew, any last thoughts? I'm gonna bring Degenerate up for a second. If you want to hang back in the studio later on, so
I'll
you're welcome to. So
I gotta bounce, but I just want
sure,
to say thanks for having me, man. And I love talking about this stuff, and it's
of
great to
course.
finally connect on a stream. But I just really enjoyed it so far. I mean, I've just kind of processing it for the first time. I watched it last night, and I have to think like a couple people asked me like where does it rank yet. I still think season 4 is one of my favorites, but like I think just trying to think about where it fits. I think I have to let it marinate a little bit, but I did
Sure.
really enjoy it. So, but
Yeah,
yeah, thanks, man. Thanks
of
for having
course.
me.
Hey, thanks for having me. And like like I said before, if you want me to come on last row, sometime, just let
Absolutely.
me know, man. Shoot me a message.
Yeah.
So yeah, all
Thank you
right,
so
man.
much.
Take
Good to
care.
talk
Take
to
care.
you. Take
Yeah,
care.
you too.
Bye.
See ya. All right, let's see. And there we go. And we got our resident editor here. Not my editor, but Henry's editor. Degenerate, the meeting of the minds. I need to play a sound effect or something for you. Just yeah. There you go. You get a yeah. So what's going on, man?
How's it going, Stryfe?
Going
Yeah,
good.
I see. I got the Miyagi Do headband just for you and just for the stream. So
Hell yeah. So are you a Miyagi Glazer? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I know. The memes are getting crazy. All right. Real quick first, thanks for the super chat. Thanura said, I would love to see Tanner play Tommy. Though some of the cast may be aging out of playing teens, I would love to see Dallas play Zach and Una as Trini. So yeah, that's your first question. Who would you cast like from Cobra Kai in an MMPR reboot?
ooh, from the cast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take your time.
So it depends on like how you want to adapt each character. Like so, like let's say like you want to do like Amy, right? So I think like the more like if you're trying to go more feminine, I would say you would cast Mary as Amy,
Right.
or then like if you want to do like training as like more of like a tomboy or more like a like of that like those like um character trope or whatever. Yeah, I would cast Peyton as training or
Sure.
like whatever you want to call the character.
For sure. Jeremy says, love your work in Henry Core. Yes, we do. We love Degenerate's work here. So what's your overall thoughts on season 6?
Season 6.
Or part 2, I should say season 6 part 2. But yeah.
Part 2, it's a roller coaster. It's far better than part 1. Obviously, part 1's about like building up to what part 2 is. So yeah, just a lot of crazy stuff. Like they like stakes are really high. I think you can tell like by the ending of Quant's like accidental death, like it's something, and like the fans are like talking like, ooh, like what, like I can't believe this has happened. Yeah, it's just very shocking, but like it's not surprising because they like the creators and the writers and stuff want to like surprise us.
Right.
And stuff.
I gotcha. Oh, thank you guys for letting me know about the audio. Let me know how this audio bounces better now. Can you hear me okay, Degenerate?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
You're good on mine. Am I good?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. So let's lower you down just a little bit. So here's like not a curveball question, but something I haven't really asked. What's something you would change about season 6 part 2?
Ooh, that's a good question. Just like a lot of good that I wouldn't change. Maybe like elaborate on certain things. Maybe like it's like certain characters explain things like, oh, like for example,
Oh, Jenner, I think we lost you for a second. No, come back. Oh, I think you might have. I think you might have disconnected. We got to hit the. Oh, guest sounded fine. Okay, so I didn't mean to play that again. My bad. Let me. Let's see. Zara Arena, I think would be an amazing. Yeah, I think I agree. I agree. Let me see. Let me hit remove for a second. Let me message him real quick. All right. In the meantime, if anybody would like to hit the link, feel free to do so. Actually, Charles, if you're still here, you can kind of hit the link. We can wait for Degenerate to come back. Oh, there he is. There we go. Welcome back.
Sorry, like I have Spectrum internet and like my laptop sucks. And like,
good.
Yeah, because like on our like Discord calls with our other community, like
yeah,
specifically at night, like the connection is like really bad. So sorry about that.
It's all good. Yeah, I think the last thing you said was like there was a lot of good, so it was kind of it was hard for you to pick something to change. I know you said you wanted to elaborate on something, but I think that's where you cut out at.
Okay, yeah. So, for example, what's it called? Kenny was thinking at his like in his flight about like what he was gonna say to Devin, and then like he's like, oh yeah, like I thought about everything, and then you're cool. Like it sounds like pretty sus. Like Dimitri thought it was sus that like, oh like this like conflict ended really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So probably like little like elaborate more on like specific things like that, you know.
Yeah. See, I was gonna make this into a short, but on like a multiple time or like I mean, it was like my fourth or fifth time rewatching. It's funny that Dimitri said, "Oh, like he's forgiven all of a sudden." I think that was kind of like an inside joke to season 3, where Dimitri just kind of forgave Hawk all of a sudden. But I think I agree with you though. Like, it would have been cool to see more of Kenny during the Sekai Taikai, because there was like some brief. He had like a brief time to shine, and I was glad he got his time to shine, but I think they would have been a little bit more impactful if they've added like another scene or two, and maybe there was a scene that got deleted, between him and Robbie and things like that. So Chad says, what's up? Shout out to my favorite plant. What the hell? I joined stream and Degenerates on. See, yeah, Chad, man, you gotta be in here, man. So
be in voice chat, just like be in voice, because like I know like you want to be like anonymous, so go for a chat. Just like talk, if you have like something to say, come up or or join the StreamYard.
See, I put Chad on a Cobra Kai too, and I don't know where he's at with it right now. So, but my thing too was just like, this is the first time me doing this kind of without trolls. If I don't know you personally, I would request you to cam up. Degenerate actually would not have had to have cam up just because I know him personally. But that's just kind of like the only rule I'm kind of putting out here. So, let's see. Favorite part of season 6, part 2, outside of the fights.
It would have to be like things that I like that are like are purposely funny, and or like certain things that I find funny. Like I'm a very witty person, but like I wouldn't like for like okay like about like my personal life. So like I grew up with like witty family members, and like they're very like snarky and stuff. But for me, I'm like more like the quiet one, and I have like a little few like one-liners here and there. But like for me, like online as a presence, like I'm more witty in my mind than I just like keyboard warrior, as like our community says.
Right.
And I do in my edits. But yeah, so one of the funny things that like, yeah, it's pretty much the funny moments. I would say when dang, I'm forgetting names. I keep forgetting like a lot of stuff. So let me just think. Chosen. So like when Chosen went to Okinawa to confess like his love for Kumiko, that one guy was like that old like that musk guy in his like towel was there, and like immediately he's like, oh, he just assumed that like that was like a lover or something, and then he just like walked away and like dropped that plant. Yeah, so like I talked about this on your Discord. So like I have a theory that like it's just like a misunderstanding.
Right, which I'm actually gonna shout that out in this coming video too. So yeah, go ahead and elaborate so that way people hear it first.
Okay, for sure. So if I'm right, maybe I appear in like a part 3 analysis, like once like it's released.
Right.
And if my prediction is right, then you can just refer to here. But yeah, so yeah, it's a mishap. But for me specifically, this is my own opinion. This is my theory. Is that like when I was looking at the guy itself, I was like, something's off. Like I don't like something's like not adding up for me. This is just my intuition.
Right.
But for me, I think it's
he's more of a friend than a lover, basically.
more of a friend. More like
Yeah.
not. He's not. I don't think he's straight in my opinion. I don't know. Like just by looking at it, I don't know. Like
Yeah.
like it's more my intuition. But yeah, like or like a friend or something. Like oh yeah, like Kimiko's like oh yeah, this is so and so blah blah blah, and that's then today I had this like revelation. You know how like Hayden and John are the creators of Hero Kumar.
Right.
I don't know if you saw the second movie, but like towards the end, they went to Amsterdam, and then Harold saw like his love interest like through a window,
Mm-hmm.
and then like I think the character name is called Maria. Like her name is Maria, and then Maria was like doing a photo shoot with some guy,
Right.
and like Harold and Kumar like went into the studio saying like, "Oh hey, what's going on?" And then Maria was like, "Oh, this is so and so. He's gay." So like they might do that again. So like it's not like all like out there theory.
Right.
So yeah.
And for the record, it's not this is just kind of degenerate assumption. It doesn't matter if the character is gay or straight or whatever. It's just something just kind of object. So
Mm-hmm.
let me look at some chat comments here. They said cancel degenerate. No, I'm just kidding. No. Henry said degenerate. Let's go. Chad said hater emoji. Chosen hooking up with Miss Kim was gold. Yeah, agree.
Oh yeah.
So here's a question. This was something that kind of like came to mind too. Speaking of Chosen, do you think they put him in too comedic of a role? Obviously, it was nice for him to be around in season 5. He had a little bit more comedy chops. But do you think they're doing his character a disservice of like just putting him specifically as comedy only, or what do you think?
For me, when I saw him drunk at the what's it called the meeting room or like the I don't know the conference room, whatever. Yeah, the mixer. I felt that was like I was like cringing, like oh like what is he doing? Like why are you doing this now? Kind of thing. Yeah, like he should have been like more like locked into like what the mission is and like to win and whatnot. And so yeah, I think it's a little bit too much like comedic, but like when he's serious, he's serious.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's really comedic, it's like he puts his 100%, and credits to the actor for doing that.
Right. I think like for me, like even though he was a little too funny for my taste this season, I think the favorite moment of mine is like when he just rides off on the scooter after the 2 patrons. Like remember when like he and Kim Daeun like pinned those 2 guys down? He's like I'm taking off, and then he just gets on the scooter. So, I think that was like probably one of the best parts and whatnot. So I got Charles up. Any last last thoughts of season 6 part 2? And if you want to hang around the studio, you can. No big deal.
Okay. Yeah, I just can't wait for part 3. Like hopefully it's sooner, but like it's up in the air. I would like to say that like for like the people that are from that other community is that like some of the like my next video is gonna be a long video, and that some of the scenes in part 2 will be implemented into my video that's coming soon, and I can't wait for you guys to see it.
Yeah, there we go. And feel free to drop your channel in the chat too, and that way we people can go check it out, subscribe. So thanks, Degenerate, friend of the channel, friend of the community, and come up anytime. So next, I got another special guest for you guys. Some of you guys have seen him in the chat before. If you guys have been in the Discord, you definitely know who he is. My main man, Charles. What is
Hey, how's it going?
Do I have
Thanks
like
for having
any?
me,
I need to add some like cheering sound effects and things like that. So I'm gonna give you guys a quick rundown on Charles. Charles Charles is the Dimitri to my Hawk. No, I'm just playing. It's just like immediately put him as like
Hey,
the
dude.
No.
All right, I'm going to MIT then.
No, but seriously, I've known Charles for a very, very long time. Coming up on it's been about 13 years. We've been through a lot together. We had some humble beginnings in voice acting. We've done cosplay together. He was Daniel and the Black and Jetty with me at this recent con we went to, which is Big Texas Comic Con. He's also up and coming. I would say more than up and coming in the voice acting industry too. I'm very happy for him to follow his dream. Should I say the Johnny Young Boss story?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So he almost got this role, and he was beat out by his voice sounded like Johnny Young Bosch. So it was very interesting. If I could lose to somebody in the voice acting industry, it's not a bad person to lose to. It kind of means you're in the caliber of that skill. So,
I
but
literally
anyway,
lost to a Power Ranger, man.
Exactly.
Can you imagine that? I was a runner-up to a Power Ranger.
for sure.
It's crazy how things come full circle.
Exactly. So now that he stole your role, you stole his costume. So it's all it's fair game. So
And I'm gonna steal his character in the new Power Rangers game too.
oh, there you go. There we go. So all right, Charles. Initial and overall thoughts of season 6, part 2.
Okay, I would definitely say that this was part 1 was just setting up, and your previous guests pretty much said the same thing. It was just setting it up. I can't really fault it too much there. There were some problems with me personally. I had a bit of a problem how they wrote Devin, because in the previous seasons she was really very driven, and I guess that kind of part 1 kind of builds off that, and she was kind of pushed. The pressure got to her, so therefore, she was cheating. And then what I really like in part 2 was pretty much it was showing that her lies were catching up to her. I don't think she really won until she shoved that guy off, and that was basically her just sacrificing herself. She didn't do what Miguel did and just do a 2v1 and just showed everyone why he's at the Sekai Taikai.
Right.
And definitely I feel like the stakes in this one, in part 2, went way higher. I know that this was the last season. I was really worried after watching part 1 where they're not going to up the ante, that this was going to be some generic thing, and it was not a generic thing. I was like, okay, Quan died. I thought, I honestly, from way back to season 3, I thought either Robbie was gonna die, Miguel was gonna die, maybe. Well, after we found out that there's gonna be a Daniel and Jackie Chan movie, I know that Daniel wasn't gonna die, but somebody was gonna get hurt, and unfortunately, it was Quan in this one, and I feel really bad because they don't really state his age, but he's technically a child, and he pretty much died. And and you said before on your hot take that this was Kreese's fault, and it is, because he brought that knife there. I mean, if Quan was holding a nunchuck or whatever, he's just gonna fall in a nunchuck, no big deal.
Right.
But that was a knife that Kreese brought, because can you remind me why Kreese brought that? It's because of Terry, right?
Yeah, I think so, because so the whole lesson with the Ungjangdo was the fools are always focused on the prize, never about the enemy standing in their way. So given his whole hallucination in that cave, my thought he was going to use that to Johnny until Terry came around, because then Terry became the bigger target, because it's just Terry was kind of one that helped put them all in this mess and things like that. So I want to point something out too, because you and I, we've always kind of discussed some funny comments on my channel and things like that. And look, I'm just gonna put it out for the record. I've said this many times. You don't have to agree with me. I welcome all discussion and things like that. But some of these takes are, how do you feel about people saying that Devin didn't cheat?
How? They literally showed her looking at the laxatives and being all right. And it's obviously heavily implied that she put it so that Kenny can drink it. I mean, how did she not really cheat? She was pushed to cheating.
Yeah.
That was basically what happened. I don't know how she didn't cheat.
Yeah, it just I did a little bit of a petty thing last night where I just like replied to people like, "Nah, she didn't cheat." I was like, "Well, look at episode 7 through 9. You know, 7. You tell me what you think about that." So, I guess some people like to defend their characters and whatnot, but you know, it is what it is. We got a question from Ryan, and sorry guys, I'm not doing the chat highlight thing in the screen because it keeps blacking out StreamYard for whatever reason. Ryan Liu, welcome in. Thanks. Do you think part 3 will be out before February? And I don't know if I told you this or not. Well, you might have seen it because for those who don't know, Charles also kind of helps me with the channel. So they initially put out a date of February 13th, right, when the season officially dropped. Then they retracted that date. So what would your prediction be for like when they would put out the date? Karate Kid Legends comes out in May.
You're asking me? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
you know, if it said February, I would say at the latest April, because that's getting closer to when the movie is going to release, and they might even push back the movie. I hope not, but I would say like earliest March, latest April, like late April. And honestly, I just kind of want them to cook. You know, like part 2 definitely ended on a very high note, a sad note, but a very high note. And I want them to take their time. I want them. This is the last season,
right?
You know, I kind of really choked up when who is it that mentioned that this was the last battle? Was it Dimitri? Sam. Okay. Yeah. I choked up with that because I was just like, dang. This really is going to be the last season of Cobra Kai. This is going to be the last time they fight together, which is crazy. This whole thing has been a roller coaster. I mean, we started from like teen drama, and we kept that teen drama until somebody freaking died.
Yeah.
And sorry, I went on a tangent, but I would say March, April.
Yeah. No, that makes sense too. And like just kind of thinking about how they've done some stuff before, right? I feel like they've kind of like try to keep. They're probably gonna not have it too close to Karate Kid Legends, but just enough to where there'll be like some kind of content to look forward to. And the reason I say that is because you know we got part 1 on July 18th, right? Then Karate Kid Street Rumble came out like mid-September, and then now we got part 2 that came out in November. So they kind of did it like almost every couple months. It would be cool if they put it out. Like I know some people say, oh, maybe they'll do it for Christmas. I'm kind of like, maybe. Or New Year's Eve, but I think for me, like the perfect month they would probably do it would probably be around April or May. If Karate Kid Legends wasn't in May, that is mainly because I think Cobra Kai launched on YouTube like May of 2018, so that would have been kind of like come full circle as far as that goes. And let's see, I got some other comments here too. The creator said the show and movie won't connect. Yeah, I think you're right about that. They said it would take place after. I think Karate Kid Legends takes place after Cobra Kai. I could be wrong on that. I got 2 questions for you, Charles. Who is your favorite characters from Karate Kid? Well, 2-part question. So, who's your favorite characters from Karate Kid?
Karate Kid from the movies
or the films only? Yeah,
films only.
And it could be more than one. So they said characters with an S.
Characters, Terry, for sure.
Dang, really?
He straight up carried the 3rd movie.
Yeah,
the 3rd
that's
like
fair.
The weakest. And Terry Thomas, great actor. I really love the fact that they brought him back for Cobra Kai.
Right.
I feel like he definitely. I wouldn't say he carried those seasons, but gosh, he was such a highlight. Right. He was such a highlight. I really loved Terry Silver, which is weird because he comes from the weakest movie. Secondly would be Miyagi, because, you know, I'm a huge fan of the Avatar series, and obviously Uncle Iroh was inspired by Miyagi. Right. Miyagi inspired a lot of people within media. And then third one is going to be Chosen, because one, I forgot his real actor's name, but gosh, he was so swole in the second.
Yuji? Yeah.
Yeah, Yuji, yeah. And he was a menace.
He was a menace to both Kimiko and Daniel throughout the second movie. I mean, you thought it was Sato, but like Chosen was just so persistent. Um, he was great. He was great. He was definitely memorable. Definitely more memorable than I wouldn't say Mike Barnes, but Mike's Goonies, who fought with him, somehow showed up in the latest part.
Right. I gotcha. So then the second part of the question, who are your favorite characters from Cobra Kai? Again, characters with an S, so there can be more than one.
Okay. First one's going to be Robbie. Reason
Let's
being is
go.
because I see myself a lot in him, you know, just very troubled, but like eventually, you know, trouble past, but he has a good heart deep down. He messes up a lot of times. In fact, I mean, he messed up. I think he only won like one fight this part. He was getting his ass kicked like throughout the entire time, and Miguel was justifiably being mad at him. But you know, I understand his position. You know, having a girl mess you up that much.
Right.
But eventually, he gained his focus back, and then the fight with him and Kenny, tag teaming up, and then they just like winning that round. That was awesome. And you know, that was kind of like, I wouldn't even say redemption arc for Kenny, but that was awesome to see that those two, you know, like they have a strong bond. Like they're back together. It's really awesome. So yeah, Robbie first. Secondly. That's a good one. That is a good question. I would also say Johnny. Just like his son, he's definitely grew up. He grew up a lot from teaching Miguel, because initially he was just this boomer, just like he doesn't know what like genders are and whatnot, and he has the balls to know that he's wrong, and he's going to make it better, because he could be like Kreese, could be like Silver, nothing's wrong with me. But Johnny, when he messes up and when his students call him out for it, he actually like looks inward and be like, you know what? They're right. Still, I'm going to do it my way. And even though his way isn't the best way all the time, he's human.
Right.
And that's both Robbie and Johnny. They're human. And that's why they're my favorite characters.
For sure. Yeah, and the thing is too, is just like, and what a lot of people get confused about, because like when I put out that thing, which also this is kind of, you know, you and I have joked about this too, about how people said I was wrong for calling Johnny a hypocrite, even though he did those same things, where he like lied and stole, like, and whatnot. But the thing was, it's just like, for me, I was just commenting on his mistakes. It doesn't mean like he's any less of a character of mine, because like I've strongly identified with Johnny, especially like when season 3 came out, because I was kind of like, as you know, like in my personal life, like I've had like some jobs I was just not a fan of, and constantly, you know, my situation was up and down. Thankfully, I've kind of, you know, come a long way since then. So, and of course, like Johnny as a character, and here's the other thing too. Like, if you guys haven't watched the Easter egg breakdown, I highly recommend watching it. 2 years ago, I called that they might tease, you know, Carmen having complications at birth, and look what happened. Like, I knew they were gonna like possibly go that way because of how, and why a lot of people I think like Miyagi without realizing this, because Johnny is modeled after Miyagi, like in so many ways, and especially, you know, my first ever video, like character analysis I put out was like why Johnny's a better sensei, was really because he was modeled after Miyagi. You know, I felt he was a better sensei than Daniel, at least in those first 2 seasons. So yeah, no, like Johnny's like a really, really great character. Let me kind of go through some comments here. Cobra Kai World, what's up? Let me see if anybody else has hit the link. Okay, we got one more person in the back too.
Can I add on to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
What you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
It not only was modeled off by Miyagi, but he was also using Miyagi's teachings too.
Yep, exactly. So let's see, Cobra Kai World. So what's up, Stryfe? What's going on, man? Johnny's come a long way. Agreed. There is one more question here that I'm gonna let Jeremy come up. And Charles, you can stay in the studio if you want to.
Okay.
I'm just kind of, this is like a first kind of a test stream. I'm just kind of filling it out and whatnot. So Ryan Liu also asked, did you remember when they pushed part 2 release day? Oh, that's not really a question, kind of more a statement. Did you remember when they pushed part 2 release date? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, Ryan. It's very possible they may push the date up. How far up is the question? No, oh, sorry. Here is the other question. Sorry, D Gamer. Welcome in. I knew I was missing your question around here somewhere. So I linked your own video at first. It's all good. Degenerate. D Gamer, welcome in. He asks, what is your opinion on the writers killing off Quan as the first ever on-screen karate-related death? Charles, I'll let you take this question first, and I'll give my thoughts.
I would say that, yeah, I think Quan resonates with Cobra Kai's teaching the most. And because he resonates with their teaching the most, him dying right there shows him that the idea that with no mercy and letting anger control you, that's self-destructive.
Mm-hmm.
And it will lead you down the path of destruction. In this case, you self-destructed. Like, it's just sad. If you let anger, I mean, this was kind of shown through all the seasons anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Robbie learned his lesson. Hawk learned his lesson. And now,
Johnny.
Unfortunately,
I say Johnny too. Johnny.
Yeah. Like, the idea of no mercy and letting your emotions run over you, that's just going to make things worse. And unfortunately, Quan, he didn't get his redemption arc like Robbie did.
Mm-hmm.
Or Johnny, he died. There's no way out of it. I think it's just unfortunate, but I think it's also pretty smart what the writers did.
Agreed. And the thing is, too, is like, I know this is kind of sound, because here's the thing, right? I was a big Quan fan when Quan came on the scene. Obviously, Brandon H. Lee, talented martial artist, multiple time world champion in Taekwondo in certain categories. I know he also still teaches at his father's dojang. As crazy or this kind of thing is like where it's a sad but true statement. Better killing off Quan than an established character, because people would have been up in roars. Like, if Miguel was killed, if Robbie was killed, if Hawk was killed, people would have been even more complaining about that than if they would have killed off Quan. And, I share the same sentiment that, better, it's like Kreese is really going to have to really look inward. And as I kind of talk about in the video tonight, he's really going to have to look inward and okay, if what I'm teaching, he's going to react to one or two ways, right? If what I'm teaching is going to have my students get killed, is it worth teaching that? Or he's going to go, and this could likely happen too, I'm not sure, which is why I said it's 50-50. He could easily shrug it off and say, oh, it's war. Casualties will happen, which, unfortunately, I wouldn't put it past Kreese as far as that goes. So, that being said, Charles, any last thoughts on Season 6, Part 2?
I would say that it's, I wouldn't put that past Kreese. I would say that in the next season, Part 2 kind of sets it up, and I feel like you could see their faces after Quan did his death scream. Both Kreese and Terry, they definitely saw oh crap, things just got real, and they're gonna do a lot of just hopefully, and that'll be really cool because Kreese had that whole therapy session back in season 4.
Right.
Right.
Sorry. The session was season 5, episode 6. You're talking about Kreese, right? In the prison.
Yeah. When he was in, having that. Okay, sorry. Season 5. What I really hope they do is to just maybe have another one of those, or have making going down okay, I really screwed up, or Terry also being okay, this has gone too far, man. Because when we first saw Terry back in when he was introduced in Cobra Kai, he was just you put me against a teen, a vendetta against a high school,
right.
A high schooler with a karate tournament, and maybe he's okay, whoa, somebody actually died here.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe part 2 is really good. I hope they don't do the generic thing where he's just Kreese stays evil the entire time, Terry stays evil the entire time. These are human, They both deal with PTSD. Hopefully they build up on that. I'm not entirely sure, but I really enjoyed this season.
Yeah, for sure.
Or this part.
Agreed. All right, Charles, thanks, man. Like I said, you're welcome to stay in the studio if you want. I'm going to bring up Jeremy here now, so appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, I have another friend of mine from the Power Rangers community, who is Jeremy. Welcome in, man. And how do I say your username? Is it Radu? Radu. There we go. How's it going, man?
Oh, quite all right. You hear me all right, dude?
Yes. Yeah, I think everybody can
awesome.
hear you. So I'm going to hit you with a couple questions we got from the chat that are hard-hitting.
Surely.
So
Surely.
Is there a possibility for Kreese to redeem himself, a face turn, if you will?
I think so, yes. I think personally what I want to happen, I don't know if because of the story structure and just the way Cobra Kai is done, Karate Kid's done,
Mhm.
there should be a little bit of a time jump before they continue the tournament. Have a little bit of a courtroom drama-esque thing, because Kreese bringing the weapon on premises,
Right.
there's got to be some like legal repercussions, even if it's like a short like montage-esque scene. They got to have something there.
Right.
And I think that's what's him seeing at it from that point of view is going to make him have a heel turn.
Right. Right.
If
See,
it's just no legal entanglement at all, no, like, it's just going to be the same thing. Like, you don't want it to be generic.
right. Yeah, and that's the thing too. Is just like, and this is also be something I'll be addressing in the video tonight. There's a lot of people that are gonna be questioned like for the brawl because I know some people could, some people, and I've seen some really wild takes so far. So apparently, somebody blamed Sam for, as usual, as they
Why?
always blame. So their reason was
Why?
because
Why?
Sam should have never talked to Axel, because if she would have never talked to Axel, Axel would not have got involved in Quan, thus kicking him. I was like, get out of here, bro! Like, get out, But
Being a
anyway,
human causes human problems.
yeah.
So,
So it's just like, but so like like you're saying, like Kreese bringing the weapon, he's gonna get questioned. I know Axel will probably get questioned to an extent, but obviously they're gonna say, well, he was defending himself. Not to mention if he brings up that, hey, Quan and his buddy tried to fight me, like when I was out one night outside of the tournament, then that's gonna clear his case as well.
okay.
One thing too that I noticed that like also not a lot of people are talking about. So if you notice, Sensei Wolf kind of disappears completely. So like after he tries to throw that punch to Daniel, the two sensei that are fighting, they kind of shove him away, but he's not. And I reviewed the footage like several times over. He's nowhere near, like when the crowd stops and stuff. Like, he's not in that scene at all.
Not a shot at all.
Yeah. So he's probably gonna get questioned to an extent too, and
I
whatnot.
think one of the things that will like slow down the questioning bit is the fact that Quan gets kicked into the camera. The people watching live, the audience, if you will,
Right.
sees him grab it, and that whole camera is
Yep.
basically shot for all the evidence of how he stabbed himself.
Yep.
So I think
Exactly.
Axel's they might even just scrap the whole Axel being questioned thing. It's all there on camera.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, that's a very good point. So here's the other question I have. Why does Sam always get blamed for everything for real, dude? Yeah, the Sam overhate. And by the way, hot take, which I'm sure you've heard me say this before too, but a lot of people tend to forget that Miguel was the one constantly pursuing Sam in season 2.
Yeah.
He was the one using Aisha's phone, returning the Medal of Honor and stuff like that, the roller rink. Like, come on now, we got to hold everybody accountable. So,
I think the audience that's, lack of a better word, triggered by Sam
right.
are people who've experienced something similar in their real lives and projecting.
Exactly.
Me personally, I think Sam's a great character. I think as time's gone on, she's been a little underwritten. Like, she's great in the emotional scenes, but then like her fight choreography scenes, like, she does quality work, but she doesn't get enough like spotlight as I would like her to, like the Robbie and Miguel shots or the Devin and Hawk shots.
Yeah, no, that's a fair
assessment.
assessment.
I think is the biggest issue. That's my biggest complaint with her, but that's maybe cinematography, maybe it's the writing. She just doesn't get that like spotlight like she did in her fighting sequences for the first 2 early on the 3rd season.
Right, exactly. Let's see. There was another question here. Let me make sure I didn't make pass. Oh, here it is. Ryan asked, do you think Johnny reopening Cobra Kai is a bad idea since he didn't want to reopen Cobra Kai in episode 1 of season 6? I'll let you answer first. I kind of have my thoughts on it already. But what's your speculation? Like, if you were to reopen Cobra Kai, like if somehow he was able to use the name again, able to use the same location, what do you think?
I think after this whole Quan incident, that name is tainted. It's too tainted. He'd have to do Eagle Fang if he goes off by himself, or stay with Miyagi-Do. Maybe Danny passes the torch to him and Danny just steps out completely.
Yeah.
And goes back to waxing cars.
Right. Yeah, no, yeah. See, like, Lucy, welcome in, by the way. For me, it's just like, the thing was like with Johnny, and I think what a lot of people kind of like tend to forget about is that, yeah, he was always associated with Cobra Kai, right? Obviously the movies, the first 2 seasons. But the thing is, he was also so against the principles. Like, even in Karate Kid 1, he was like, I'm not going to, why should I sweep the leg and whatnot? And he's like, it's almost like the same question with, Kreese and Silver in season 4 when Johnny was being beat up, right? Like, okay, it's no mercy, except such and such happens. So it's just like, even Kreese to an extent has problem with the principles and the philosophy of Cobra Kai, and probably even more so now after Quan died. So it's just like, I can't really see Johnny kind of going back to that unless the show maybe comes up with a reason that I can't think of right now, and then like to where it kind of makes sense. But it's just like he's so against the principles, so it's just like I personally can't see him doing it. So,
but then does the principles make the name, or does the name make the principles?
That's a good question. So
yeah,
that's a very good question. Let's see. Let's not try to talk about too much about the leaks in chat, if possible. I know
there's leaks already. Jeez.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm not a fan of like discussing them, honestly. I don't mind.
Yeah. No, I don't like to be spoiled.
Yeah.
Like when trailers were back just a name.
Right. Let's see. ABS always blames. Yeah, exactly. I'm just reading some other comments here. Scorch asks, who's going to know that it was Kreese's dagger unless he tries to get it back? Well, my thing is, so to answer, and I want to get your thoughts on this too. So for me, I think how people would know, well, there's a few people that would know it would be Kreese's dagger, right? Yeah. Terry Silver would know it was Kreese's dagger because of the Miyagi-Do rules. Miyagi-Do would know it was Kreese's dagger. More specifically, if Johnny knows, or excuse me, not Johnny, that might be another reason. And I just now thought of this because my friend asked me the same thing. Because like one of my friend's question was like, why did Daniel try to stop Quan? Well, if Daniel knew the dagger existed, then he probably knew what Quan's intentions were, and that's why he wanted to try to stop him. So if Daniel was the only one to go check on Quan, he knew the dagger and stuff like that, he's probably going to say, well, yeah, Kreese had the dagger and stuff like that. And if Silver might be the only thing that he'll agree with Daniel on, that like, yeah, Kreese is the one that had the dagger, then Kreese is kind of screwed at that point. What's your thoughts on that, or how they would explain that it's Kreese's dagger?
I think the cameras watching the tournament would know when Kreese got grabbed and it dropped from his back. One of those cameras might have caught something. One of the bigger issues, I think, is that, yeah, there's so many people who can point the finger at Kreese for it being his dagger.
Right.
You get CSI on that thing. There's handprints from everyone from Miyagi-Do touched it last and put it in his locker.
Right. Yeah.
That's going to be like, how are they going to play that without just glazing over it, blasé writing? They have to go into a little more detail.
Right. Exactly. Arm goes boom brings up the next point. Yeah, that's a good point. I kind of forgot about this too. At the mixer, the weapons clerk would know it was his, which that's true. He witnessed that whole conversation with Johnny and Kreese talking about the Ungjangdo. So, Otto.
What happened with?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, what happened with Kreese walked in on Terry making that call in the hallway? Was that for the Russian dude to come out and start the whole brawl, or do you think that was something else?
I was wondering that too. I think so. I know that first call right at the beginning of the episode was that he was trying to get more eyes on the product, from what it sounded like. When Kreese came back, I don't know if that was either a call to more sponsors or if he was just trying to say, hey, pull up the limo and get me out of here. Because the other thing, too, if you notice, Terry Silver was not trying to get involved in that brawl.
No.
Since Wolf was, but not Silver. So that would be my guess there. And maybe we'll get some more answers on that part 3. I don't know if it's going to lead into anything major. But those would be like my 2 guesses. And then somebody says, is there any chance Quan lived? No. I know they could do the whole thing of like, hey, maybe it was a dream, but then that would kind of like point to like, okay, well, they didn't even want to pull the trigger on, you know, a character dying, so that would kind of
Oh,
also backfire on them at that point too. You know what I mean? So
yeah. No, I agree with you on that. But for the fact that you brought up the dream
yeah,
part, just triggered something I wanted to ask you about.
sure,
Okay, with the what's it called? AI reconstruction, if you will, of Mr. Miyagi in that dream sequence.
right,
It was a little uncanny valley. However, for the fact it was a dream sequence, I think that made it work even better than when you got something like Peter Cushing, General Tarkin, Moff
right.
Tarkin on Star Wars Rogue One. How do you feel about them incorporating that in more Cobra Kai stuff,
I
bringing back characters that youthful? Because the Johnny
right.
Lawrence one was kind of not as good as the Miyagi one was done, I think.
Yeah, so like I was also one of the ones that kind of like, and not a lot of people criticized it, but I was like the Johnny one. I was like, okay, that one kind of looked a little work because there was like a certain movement that the body double made, and it just kind of looked
Hmm.
like Johnny had a blank stare. That was the only one that kind of, uh, you know, I had a problem with. I think the Miyagi one was better,
Hmm.
but the mouth movements needed work because some of
Yeah.
that kind of didn't match. I think if they keep it minimal in
Yeah.
like certain situations it could work, which is like, you know, the therapy session was a good example, the dream was a good
Yeah.
example.
Hmm.
um I don't know if I would like to kind of have them use deep fakes constantly unless it was like for a certain situation, like for example the what was the new, not the newest one that came out, but the ghost, was it after Ghostbusters Afterlife where they did the Egon ghost?
Yeah.
That one kind of worked in that scenario because it was very brief
Brief.
moments and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
they can't have it towards like, you know, hey, this is the whole episode of this. It has to kind of
Yeah.
work in segments. So that's my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought the way they did it was really like spot on compared to how other studios are doing it. They should try to follow.
Right.
Other studios should try to follow Cobra Kai's suit on how they do
I
it. They
agree
did it very tastefully.
for sure. Agreed. And looks like I got a new person back here. So one last question. Let me see if there's anybody else asked something. Shin Batman asked me, do I think Julie Pierce will appear in part 3 to explain to Daniel about Mr. Miyagi? I hope so, but it's like Drew said earlier, it has to be very impactful. It just can't be just like a cameo.
Hmm.
Jeremy, how do you think they would incorporate Julie Pierce in part 3? Or how could they do it? I guess I should ask.
Uh, I would think that probably how I would do it anyway, if it was me, I would have Sekai Taikai end. We get towards the last episode, a
Right.
little bit of a time jump. Danny LaRusso goes and finds out some bit of information, and it leads into a mini series spin-off where you
Oh,
get a more
okay.
in-depth tale, like maybe like a 3 or 4 part episode arc mini series just focused on it.
Right. Yeah, no, that's actually really that's a really good thing. I hadn't really considered that. So, but
Yeah.
yeah. Well, hey, cool, man. Jeremy, thanks again for joining. I'm gonna bring up the
Thank
next
you. It was
guest,
great
and
talking to you.
yeah, of
Great
course,
job.
always.
Great stream.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
W.
See ya.
Welcome. Have a good one.
All right, you too. All right, next up we have TDR 1411.
What's up, guys?
Welcome in, man. First time. How's it going?
Yeah, good. I still shook after season 6, part 2.
Yeah, I got you. I noticed a bit of accent. Where are you from, if you don't mind me asking?
Australia.
What time is it there?
Oh, it's like 9:30.
9:30 in the morning.
Yep.
Okay. So not too late, not too early. That's good. All right. Initial thoughts of season 6, part 2.
I kind of saw the leaks, so I was like, could they do this? I mean, I feel like Cobra Kai is like, it's not Game of Thrones,
Right.
So I was like, are they really hardcore like that? Could they really be hardcore like that?
Right.
I mean, it's not. Cobra Kai's not like Invincible or something like that,
Right. Is there? So I guess here's then another question: is there something you would have changed about part 2,
Part 2.
or anything they could have elaborated on, anything like that?
I would have liked more of the Mr. Miyagi mystery, like
Right. Same.
to not be like a misdirection planted by Terry Silver.
Yeah. Yeah, no, same. I was really hoping for some more answers with that. I know like a lot of people kind of want there to be like some kind of thing of like, oh, he should have fought Kim Sung Yum, and I'm like, well, they would have to retcon Karate Kid Part 3 and all these other things and stuff. So I guess we'll kind of see how that plays out in Part 3.
I kind of I low-key might have thought that we might have gotten a slight with Daniel's side quest would have been a slight Indiana Jonesy kind of, you know, mystery adventure.
Right.
I thought we were going to get something like that a little bit.
Yeah, that would have been really cool. I have a question from the chat, and this is actually kind of a good one. Degenerate asks, "What do you think of the Robbie and Zara scene?" Which I'm assuming is the morning after, I should say. I know it was a touchy subject on Twitter. This is kind of a tough subject mainly because obviously the characters are teenagers, but the actors are overage. So, what's your thoughts on that?
Oh, this is a pretty touchy subject as well. I was just talking to another friend of mine about it too. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I want to apply the R word here or not.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, that's the way he walked away too. It looked very suspect. So or it was just one of the where she took advantage of him. Yeah, it's very touchy subject. So yeah, I don't know. I wonder if that'll be elaborated on like in Part 3 and stuff like that.
Nah.
But from the way it sounded like Robbie just kind of regretted it anyway. So I think they kind of like try to leave it as ambiguous as they could. And it was definitely a crazy thing. So let me check out some more comments here from the chat. Let's see here. Is there a character you think is beyond redemption, like salvation? Like somebody said, example, Dutch, Dennis Kwan,
Terry Silver.
Terry Silver. Yeah, I agree with you there.
No hesitation. Yeah.
Well, here's a side question. How long have you been watching the channel?
2 years, I think.
Okay.
I think, yeah. I've been watching, Shamoon. Yeah, I've been watching him a longer, and I know him. He knows me.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Drew as well, Cobra Kai Kid.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So who's your favorite Cobra Kai YouTuber? No, I'm just playing. I'm not gonna ask you that. That's people gonna like
and Watch Party. Watch
Party. Okay.
Yeah.
He's very polarizing. So, but he's got views. Yeah. So I'll give him that.
Plus, his predictions always come out right.
He's got quite a few I know he was one of the first ones to call Robbie joining Cobra Kai in season 3. So he's definitely got some good predictions. Say that again.
And Hawk full on joining Miyagi-Do and going on that.
Yeah, he's definitely got some good predictions. So I definitely give him props. He's also been one of the originals too. I know he was around. When season 2 came out in 2019, I was watching it back then too. I know he's been around at least since then. Yeah, he's definitely got some good videos for sure. Let's see. Is there a favorite fight that you have from season 6 part 2?
I mean, it's the last one. It's the brawl. I love the brawls.
Right, for sure.
I love season 2, the school fight. Mm-hmm. Season 5, the dojo brawl. This is up there now. Yeah.
See, I've had some people like kind of criticize season, and which I'm with you too. I like the karate brawl was pretty good too for season 6. Some people were saying that the season 6 part 2 brawl was a cop out, but I've always said like Cobra Kai is written like a wrestling show. They kind of do things like this to leave things ambiguous, kind of like how for example in season 1 Hawk and Robbie, so that way neither character didn't have to lose per se. Hawk got disqualified. There wasn't a one-on-one fight in season 2 between the two, and then season 4, Hawk kind of got a somewhat like very decisive, ambiguous win over Robbie in season 4 because of 1-to-1 setting over time, and then Hawk and things like that. But for me, I just thought hey, it's Cobra Kai tradition. They got to have a brawl. There's got to be stuff like that, and not to mention it kind of helped the fact that like, hey, Johnny and Daniel are not on the level of Sensei Wolf. Wolf was able to kind of take him 2-on-1. and things like that. So yeah, I thought the brawl was done really, really well as far as that goes. So here's another comment from Ryan. Ryan's had some good questions this stream. The dumbest part was Kreese putting the knife in his back instead of keeping it in his pocket. That that's kind of a good point, because otherwise he would have not dropped the. But Scorch also says Kreese's gi didn't have any pockets, so he had to tuck the knife into his belt. What's your thoughts on that? If you were Kreese, how would you have gotten the knife without dropping it to Terry Silver?
Just keep it in the chest. Keep it close to the
like
chest.
right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So, by the way, guys, like I said, open discussion. Feel free to hit the link if you'd like. My only request is, like, if I've not interacted with you before, just cam up 18 plus. As far as that goes, of course. So, but yeah, no, that's a very good thing. Who are some of your favorite Cobra Kai characters? More than one. Doesn't have to be like a top 5, top 10, like, over the course of all the seasons.
Miguel's the consistent number one, I reckon.
For sure. Miguel, what about any of the senseis?
Oh, senseis.
Of course, more than one.
Johnny.
Johnny. Okay, yeah, definitely some good
Johnny.
picks.
Yeah.
Henry says link is pinned the top. Yes, thank you. Comment section. Yeah, I agree.
Also,
go ahead, sorry.
Also been a big fan of Louis Tan for years as well.
Right. Yeah. No, he's brilliant. For me, I didn't really. The first film I saw him in was Mortal Kombat 2021, which I know a lot of people are kind of mixed about, but I thought the film was all right. So I think he's now the second Mortal Kombat 2020 actor after Josh Lawson, who played Kano in Mortal Kombat, and then he was the scamming surfer Owen in season 5, episode 1. So I always thought, yeah, the fact that they kind of brought like a little crossover there was really cool as far as that goes. So, do you have any predictions for part 3, or something you would like to see happen in part 3 if you could write the show?
If I could write the show, this is probably very vanilla, but I'd probably have Miguel win, just become straight up world champ.
Are you one of those guys that's like, hey, it started with Miguel, it should end with Miguel?
In this case, yeah.
Okay.
But for me, but as for other characters, I do think if they were to make more spin-offs, I think Hawk could carry a spin-off.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, Hawk throughout the show, like, everyone knows that he's definitely strong, right, but like he's always like a tier below all the other characters that are like directly or indirectly related to people from the Karate Kid movies.
Right.
Yeah. So if he gets his own show and we don't have like Miguel, Robbie, anyone else, it's just him, maybe Dimitri, he could probably really shine.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. All right, I got a last question for you. Where is Johnny's stepdad? So it is confirmed that he was alive. I think it was season 6, episode 2. Yeah, the prize. So they said, so in universe, Johnny's stepdad's still alive. Do you think Johnny will get the house and the money, or who do you think?
Probably, yeah.
Probably, okay.
Yeah. Oh.
I could definitely see that happening. So, but hey, yeah. TDR.
I got to also point out my.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Well. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm also a big Power Ranger guy. So.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Are you excited for the Power Rangers game?
Oh yeah, 100%. I love seeing like there's like half of the X-Men '97 cast involved in that. Half of the cast.
Oh wow.
Well, no, like half of like the Rangers in that are like from X-Men '97. So you got Gambit's voicing Jason. So that's cool.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I hadn't looked up the voice cast yet, so I was.
Yeah, and I think Bishop, he's voicing Zach,
mm-hmm,
and Jubilee's obviously voicing Trini.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I have to look more into that. I actually just bought. So I know the game's not released yet, but I actually bought the game in advance today before stream. So I'm definitely looking to streaming that and stuff. Of course, I've. I don't know if you've seen any like the previous stream I did, which we're coming up on the 2-year anniversary. Rest in peace, JDF. I actually met JDF a couple times too. He was very kind to me. The last interaction I had with him in 2016, he actually gave me the picture for free because the con was screwing people over at that time, and they were doing cash only. I didn't know that, and I kind of waited in this line like an hour early, and I said, "Hey, I'm just gonna say hi. He's like, no, man, I got you. Took the picture, signed
Yeah.
the helmet. Really, really swell.
I also met JD at Jason Dever Frank a couple of times when he came to my city
Nice.
as well. Yeah, I think once was like a free meet and greet. He was like, yeah, I think the conventions at the time couldn't take him because like Austin St. John was there at the and you know, you probably know the beef. And
yeah.
He was like, oh, and then he was like, then he was on social media, he was like, hey, I'm here. Any Power Ranger fans in the area, just come by and say hi.
Oh wow. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And he was filming My Morphin Life at the time, so I got to be in it.
Oh, so this was in the 2010s too. So this was like the so you're in an episode of My Morphin Life.
Well, yeah, I briefly there for like 3 seconds in My Morphin Life.
What do you know what episode?
Oh, I forgot. It was like so long ago.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
But
though. Yeah, that's really cool. You know, he was kind to everybody. Very rarely I've heard a bad interaction with him. Even then, I kind of question just because like me having like been at the conventions and the long lines and seeing how he treated his fans personally and just kind of waited, you know, took his time with everybody. I find it hard to believe that, you know, he treated his fans poorly. So
yeah, also a big proponent of like the Cobra Kai fan castings. I would low-key love to see that happen.
Oh, same, dude. I really hope, you know, maybe Netflix does something with Power Rangers. Kind of hard to say now because Hasbro's selling off everything, but we'll see.
I'm a little bit low-key worried because like some of the cast are aging out of teen roles.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you saw Sholo in Blue Beetle, who played like a college graduate.
Right.
So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, especially if you look at the comparison where they are now to season 1, it's just like a almost night and day difference and stuff like that. So, but yeah.
Though I think Dallas, if he doesn't get Miles Morales, somebody should tell him to play Zach.
Yeah, I think so. He would. I really hope he continues like doing some kind of martial arts capacity. But I also know, like, I don't know if it was Instagram or somewhere. I know he had more of an interest in sports, like baseball specifically, or something like that. So I don't. If he does that too, I don't fault him. He definitely should pursue it.
Though I definitely seen that he wants to play Miles Morales.
Yeah, that would be really, really cool. So, but
yeah.
All right.
Also,
man.
Uno.
Yeah, go ahead.
Uno is Trini as well.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Agree. So, all right, man. Hey, dude, I appreciate you coming up. I got Cobra Kai World backstage. So, thanks again coming up for TDR, man. Come up anytime.
All right.
See ya. All right, we got another creator in the background from the Cobra Kai space. I think it's our first time meeting. This is Cobra Kai World, everybody. Cobra Kai World, what's going on, man?
Hey, man, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So, all right, man. Tell it to me straight. What's your initial thoughts as season 6 part 2?
I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a lot better than part 1. I thought it was pretty solid. There are a few things that I didn't like or wasn't a fan of, but I was like, it's all right. But
so let me
enjoyed it.
Yeah, no. Let me ask you about, because I think it's also important to address like kind of criticism and stuff like that too. Because like I don't know if you saw my latest Devin video. I kind of thought her writing was inconsistent. What are some of the things you didn't like about season 6 part 2?
Well, for starters, the Axel and Sam stuff. Like I just thought that like after like one meeting, he's already obsessed with her. I'm like, bro, you've known this girl for like 20 minutes. Like,
yeah, I've seen people meme on that.
Like,
so that's
and like
he's
just giving Miguel the death stare. I'm like, they haven't even met. Like, are you serious?
I always like seeing Miguel. Like
Miguel's like, what is this guy's problem?
Right.
What did I do?
Right. Yeah, I've seen like some of Miguel's expressions, like the way he would look in certain. I always thought that was funny. Yeah, it was. Oh, hold on. I gotta just adjust volume real quick. Say something real quick.
Hello?
All right, there we go. All right. I've been trying to kind of adjust my volume here and there. Shout out to everybody watching, by the way. But, I agree with you there. Like it was one of those things. I'll probably just like explore, because he's one of my upcoming character analysis. I think part of that is just because maybe that'd be like the first like kind of affection he's known, at least in the karate world. Because, she saw him being abused. She also like asked him like, hey, like, I'm not your enemy. Like, what's going on and stuff like that. So maybe he kind of got attached too quick. But yeah, I can definitely see that criticism. It's a very fair and valid one that like he just has like a thing all of a sudden. And I can definitely agree with the reasoning that it's also kind of a way to kind of like just write him in as Miguel's rival for this last part of the season. So, what are some other criticisms you have for part 2?
Oh, I just was not a fan of Zara hooking up with Robbie. I just did
Yeah.
not like that. Like, I thought it was just unnecessary and it just wasn't needed. And then he just falsely accuses Tori of hooking up with Quan for some reason.
Right.
I'm like, if you're gonna accuse somebody, at least have some evidence. Because I'm like, well, what evidence? Like, did you walk in on something? Like, what happened there? And it was nothing.
Right.
Like she even said, like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, you got played, you idiot. Like,
yeah, classic Cobra Kai trope.
Like, she was so confused. Like,
right.
She's like, where did you get that information from? And I was just confused with the situation because I couldn't tell if Robbie was drunk because he usually doesn't drink.
Right.
So it was like a weird thing where like you just like I'm like, did he actually drink? But I guess he confirmed that he did drink.
Right.
And like, I'm confused. Did they just kiss or did they actually do the thing or what? Like, I don't even know.
Yeah. No, that's fair. They, yeah, the thing too is just like with Quan sorry, I lost my train of thought here. No, I definitely agree with that. Like with the whole misunderstanding and stuff like that. Classic Cobra Kai trope. I knew they were gonna have to try to throw that in somehow. Just kind of like how season 1 happened, how season 2 happened, and all these other things. So no, I agree with you that there. And with some of as I was discussing with TDR just a while ago too, how some of that very borderline kind of like with the not Quan but Zara and Robbie. I totally get that. So. Degenerate says, "Go Patriots." We also have a question from Ramiro. He asked, "Who are your favorite characters in Cobra Kai? Characters with an S, so there can be more than one."
Does he mean in general or just in this part?
Just in general.
All right. So my top 5: 1 is Tori, 2 is Robbie, 3 is Johnny, 4 is Miguel. And then 5, I would say Chosen.
Okay. That's definitely a good list. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any questions here in the chat. Wait, this is an interesting question. Alphil, welcome into the channel, says, did Daniel take the knife and will he blame himself for Quan's demise? That's a good question. I hadn't considered that. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, they showed us the shot of it like sticking out of his chest, so he might like take it out and like hand it over as like evidence or something. But like, I do think like Quan's death is gonna like affect him mentally because he tried to get there in time to stop it from happening, and he just didn't make it in time.
Right.
So I definitely think he's gonna be dealing with that guilt for sure.
Definitely. And I think also, Alphil also brought up a good point because somebody had asked me this in the Discord. They were saying, like, hey, how would Miyagi-Do senseis know about the knife or something like that? I said, well, Johnny would know, right? Because Johnny was there discussing it with Kreese and things like that. We also had, Daniel at the very last second, he saw Kreese sheath the thing. So they would know about the knife and whatnot. So I think it's very possible that if Daniel knew about the knife as we saw him sheath it, he might have been the one that take it from the locker to mess with Kreese, and then maybe Chosen told him, hey, put the knife back. But maybe he'll blame himself partly. I can kind of see that happening. That'd be something they would address in part 3 more than likely. But at the same time, I mean, it kind of all still goes back to Kreese because Kreese is the one that brought it to to the Sekai Taikai as part of Master Kim Sung-young's lesson of eliminate the opponent standing in the way of the prize. Don't just focus on the prize itself. So, yeah, I think that's definitely going to happen for sure. Auto Rocket asks, do you ship Chosen and Kim or Chosen and Kumiko?
I was kind of shocked that they did that.
Same.
I just kind of laughed. I thought it was funny. But I do think Kumiko would be the better partner for Chosen for sure.
Right.
And I think that whole like scene that like he talked about was just a huge misunderstanding.
Same.
But we'll see what they do with it in the next part.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting because that'll be like another love triangle we'll have in the series where it's gonna be like Chosen, Kumiko, and Kim, and then Chosen's gonna have to make a decision. So yeah, that's gonna be very interesting too. Yeah, I just when they kiss, I just yelled out, "No, don't do it!" I was like, man,
I was like, oh my gosh.
So yeah,
It was funny though.
for sure. It was definitely one of the highlights and whatnot. Oh, here's another question from All Phil, and also thanks to those of you guys that are coming to chat. Of course, as I mentioned, it's open forum discussion. I have the pin, or excuse me, the link in the pin in the comments here in the live chat. He asked, "Do you see the show leaving someone of the young cast in the dark, so that in 30 years they do a whole new series for newer?" Ooh, that's interesting. So basically, like, would they make a Cobra Kai of somebody from Cobra Kai?
I think if they were going to do that, I think the most likely candidates would be either Robbie or Tori, I think.
Yeah, I could see that happening too. I think even maybe Kenny to an extent too, even though I know he hasn't like been one of the long-standing casts and stuff like that. But I think that would be like a really good suggestion as far as that goes. What you're saying, like Robbie and Tori. Who? Forgive me if I asked this already. What was your favorite fight in part 2?
Favorite fight. It's gonna. I gotta go with Kreese versus Silver. I've been waiting for that for so long.
Yeah.
And Johnny just steps in and like just gets Silver back for that sucker kick in season 4. Like he hits him right back with a sucker kick. Like that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I would.
Like, yes, karma.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought for me, yeah, that was like a long awaited fight that I was really looking forward to since like the end of season 4. I think my favorite moment of that fight when Johnny stepped in is right before he gets that last kick in, where it was pretty much implied that he was winning the fight. I like that shocked face that Silver gave, like after Johnny like kicked him. He was like, "Holy crap!" Like, so that was really nice that they had that character progression from season 4 to season 6 as far as that goes. So, what is something you're looking forward to in part 3?
Oh, I'm just like I'm curious to see like the aftermath of everything, like what's gonna happen with the tournament because they cut the feed. Like,
right?
Is the tournament gonna get suspended? Like, are they gonna have to restructure some things and for it to continue or something? Like, they have to go through this like huge legal process because teenager literally got murdered, like literally, like on live TV. So like the whole entire world saw it. So like they're gonna be facing some like serious repercussions. Like it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree because the other thing too, what's also interesting is that I know like when Silver was talking with Gunther the first time they met in season 5 episode 8, where he's like, you know, hey, I can get you guys broadcasting rights. I know this is something a market y'all haven't tapped into, so I wonder if there will be like a ban on that tournament completely. Maybe and even if there is, would they still maybe continue it in the dark because they necessarily wouldn't you know, if they had an untapped market already, then I guess it wouldn't necessarily matter if not a lot of people knew about it. So that's going to be very interesting though. But I'm definitely looking forward to how they're going to, you know, as I talked with Radu earlier, you know, I know Kreese is probably going to get questioned the most, obviously, because he brought the Ungjangdo. You know, they might question Axel a little bit. Obviously, he's going to claim self-defense, which rightly so. He was defending himself. You know, and especially like he mentioned like if they brought like CSI in that, that's going to be, you know, if there's Miyagi-Do Prince on that too, then Miyagi-Do might get questioned for that as well. So that's going to be very interesting. So I'm going to have a last question for you just in case anybody else wants to come up. Alphil, thank you for the comment, man. I appreciate it. AR Rock, forgive me if I mispronounced your name. What do you think is going to happen between Dimitri and Yasmin? Do you think he'll apologize?
I think he will. I'm not really sure how it's going to play out because, you know, like it's such a like minor relationship compared to the others. And like she's not really like and like she doesn't strike me as like the forgiving type. I mean, she might forgive him and like get over it, but
Right.
um, that was another thing I didn't like, where like he just lashes out at Hawk and just blames him for it.
Yeah.
When I'm like, dude, you made that choice yourself.
Right.
Like, you got to hold yourself accountable, and like, you should have said yes to that girl anyway. Like, if Hawk can do it, you can do it. You know,
Right.
like it's on you for not being a loyal boyfriend. But
Yeah.
well, let's see. We'll have to see how that plays out. I'm not really sure if Yasmin's gonna come around so easily, but
Right.
no, he has to own up to it and apologize.
Yeah. No, I agree. Here's another question that kind of sprung to mind that I remember from a conversation the other day. I was talking with a friend who's like a really, really hardcore Dimitri fan. She stated that their relationship is toxic. Do you think Yasmin's a good fit for Dimitri? I'm kind of just curious to, since we're talking about the subject.
Um, I mean, I'd say yes and no. Um, I think like their strongest points was season 3, because she finally understood like what it's like to be bullied,
Right.
and she was able to like sympathize for him a bit, and they're able to like get together and all that. Since then, she really hasn't done much, and like season 6 part 1, like I get what she's trying to do. She's trying to like motivate him to like be more confident in himself and like just do better and all that, but at the same time she's kind of the reason why he got so confident and got so cocky and arrogant.
Right.
And that whole like drift between him and Eli happened was because of his confidence and arrogance. And frankly, he's lucky that that didn't end up being worse than it was, because a lot of people were predicting that his confidence was going to end up getting him injured in the tournament pretty badly. So frankly, I'm surprised they didn't go through with that. But
yeah, that was actually
yeah.
one of my predictions too. I was like, he's probably going to get hurt or something like that. But yeah, no, I agree. I think it's definitely kind of a 50-50 for me. I did like how she motivated him in season 6, part 1. Maybe they're a good fit. Maybe, I mean, the fact that she flew back all the way, also from across the world to kind of be there for prom too. I think that also says a lot about her. But
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to say. So, but hey, Cobra Kai World, thanks again for coming up, man. I know you've been a long time supporter for the channel, so I appreciate it, man. And I will talk to you next time. All right.
All right.
All right. See you later.
Peace.
All right. I am going to take a quick break, guys, and then if anybody else that hasn't come up yet, you'd like to come up, we'll go from there. But I will BRB. All right, guys, I am back. Let me check out some of y'all's comments real quick. I appreciate everybody that's been chatting and whatnot. Let me move this here for a second. No. I need to set up that alert when somebody hits the link. Ashton Irby, welcome in, man. Support the channel and whatnot. Let's see. If you love Stryfe, you love Henry for real. Not enough Carmen, I agree. Bruce Askew, welcome in. Yeah, the bra was really great. Arm goes boom. If you're still here, hit the link. If you haven't already, the link's pinned. Make sure I haven't seen up here. Dimitri will raise her up again like last time. Yeah, Terry definitely needs to come back for sure. Degenerate says, Stryfe, I just want to say on behalf of our community, your analysts, your videos, who are persons very much appreciated. Your voice and opinion matters. Degenerate, I appreciate it, man. Grateful to have you as a friend as well, dude. I appreciate it. Not another karate dojo. The law system is very bad in Cobra Kai. The scene they said last time they were together. Yes, that was one of my favorite scenes of part 2. Easily one of the best scenes and stuff like that and whatnot. How many brawls are too many brawls in one's life? That's a really good question. Maybe one's just enough. Do you think if Miguel sees him fighting, it could hurt his chance of getting in? Oh wait, if sees who fighting? Oh, you're talking about at the college? Oh, I see Stanford. Maybe. But if they review the whole footage, it could be one of those things where they see him defending himself, you know what I mean? So it's really hard to say. I'll probably be live for maybe like maybe a little less than an hour. If anybody else that wants to hit the link that hasn't come up yet, I'll post it again here. Oh, hold on. Actually, I'll just do this. I need to set this up to where I have like the notifications on. Let me do that real quick. While we're waiting. Let's see. There we go. Play a sound guest in there. You can ban guests. That's crazy. All right. What's next for your channel after Cobra Kai ends and the movie comes out? I still have plenty of Rocky and Creed content I need to cover. So definitely plenty of material there. I thought about covering the Avatar: The Last Airbender. Also work on the gaming channel like concurrently with the analysis channel as well. So I'm trying to think if there's some other stuff coming. Probably some more anime and stuff as well. I know Terminator Zero is coming out with season 2, so I'm gonna see if I can try to get that going as well. Jeremy asked, not counting Miguel, whose career do you think will take off the most? I think Peyton's has already taken off pretty well. If Tanner's stuck with martial arts, he could probably, easily like get up there in Hollywood. I know he's been kind of making his moves, and stuff like that. I know He's All That wasn't the greatest, but I also know he was in that Billy Walsh movie, so he's kind of getting out there. If as others were saying, if Dallas Dupree gets Miles Morales, that could likely, that could open a lot of doors for him, as far as that goes. So. More series of the Avatar verse are coming in a couple of years. Yeah, that would be really, really cool to see. Would I cover the One Piece live action? You know what? Here, I'll throw a poll. See if I want to subject myself to torture of doing One Piece. Wait, can I do the poll here, or do I have to do it? Oh, here it is. See it would torture myself with this poll, bro. Oh, we got somebody. All right, let me get the music down real quick. So I should have been having that alert also. I'm struggle streaming as Henry would say. No, wait, wrong thing. See, that's what I get for doing stuff. We'll hit the link in the back. Okay, no problem. All right, we got a good friend of mine. Arm goes boom. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's been a long time since you and I have spoke. I think almost. I'm trying to remember the last time I saw you at a con.
Man, I think it was 2015. Or actually, no, 2019. I think, like right before COVID.
Yeah, that sounds about right, man. So, but yeah, no. I know as of part one, when you and I kind of reconnected, you were a Cobra Kai fan. So. Let me get your thoughts of part two. What do you think overall?
Honestly, super hype. Like everything about it, like from the fighting, from the story of going into like Daniel thinking that he found some clues about Miyagi just to get like captured and literally thrown into a dog cage. Like just everything about it was just so intense, and I could not stop watching it. Yeah.
It was really good. I think easily some of the best fights of this the series, as I've said over and over again. You might have seen, like, I'm starting to study Taekwondo. I test for yellow belt this Friday, and I know Brandon H. Lee, who plays Quan. He's not only a champion but also an instructor at his father's dojo. I know Tanner. I can't remember what belt. I have to go back and look what belt he got, but he didn't get black belt quite yet. But I really hope that he continues to. Get a black belt in Taekwondo, man, because like his like that fight with him in episode 9 was really great. And I know Una O'Brien. I know she's still studying like martial arts between the shows. And when I talked to Gianni, who plays Dimitri at Big Texas Comic Con, he's studying Krav Maga outside of the show and stuff like that. So yeah, no, this lives up to the hype all around with everything that's going on. Is there anything you would change or anything you wish they would have elaborated in part 2?
Honestly, I really wish that like Miguel's father would have showed up.
Really? I hear like a lot of that, like a lot of people want to see that happen, but I guess, do you want that? Do you feel like there should be like another closing loop on that arc? Is that why like a lot of people want to see that happen, do you think? Or
yeah, I think it left a lot of questions unanswered, and it kind of like it teased us of something amazing going to happen, with his father owning an underground fight club and being like this like crime lord essentially, like pretty much the Mexico's version of like a Terry Silver almost,
right?
And the fact that like it was cut off right at the ankles before actually getting like a full conclusion of that. Like it feels like it left a lot to be desired.
Yeah, I could see that. I know like there's that where they were saying that Miguel left his backpack in Mexico, so that could likely happen. But I don't know. For me, the way they did it, I feel like there's not going to be like another appearance from him, but I could be wrong. So we can kind of see as far as that goes. And yeah, Scorch brings up a good point. Miguel's father was a drug dealer with few redeeming qualities. I'm fine with him not returning. Yeah, for me, it would have to be one of those things where like they would have to, like, if he were to return, they would really have to make like his character impactful. I think you bring up a good point of him being like a the Mexico version of Terry Silver, considering that he owns that like underground MMA club, and he's also powerful and things like that. So it's interesting. It kind of makes you wonder if he and Silver ever cross paths, or even Sensei Wolf, as far as that goes. So, but that. That's definitely a point I haven't considered. So that's a really good point. What are some of the things you're looking forward to in part 3?
honestly, man, there's so much to look forward to. Like, are we gonna actually get answers about Miyagi, or is that gonna be saved for the movie that's coming up? Are we gonna see Jackie Chan in this?
Yeah.
Like, uh, because we know he's gonna be in the upcoming movie and stuff. So it's like there's so much questions that I have that I don't know if they're all gonna be touched on part three. But I mean, more questions about or more answers about Miyagi, um, possibly Jackie Chan showing up. Um, if Julie, Karate Kid Part Four,
Right.
or the next Karate Kid, if she's ever going to show up or anything. I know that it's probably not going to be a factor, but I mean, it would be really cool to just see that cameo of her, along with like to go back on with Wolf, depending on because he's obviously in the same like underground fighting as Miguel's father was. Like, it felt like a perfect opportunity to have them kind of know each other.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So, have you seen? I discussed this with Drew earlier, but I don't know if you saw the or what I discussed. Have you seen Cobra Kai Inside the Dojo Part 2 yet, or no?
I have not. I've
Okay.
seen wait. I know I've seen one of them. The second one. What is that? Does it go about more about season 6 or?
Yeah, it does. So, do you mind if I tell you, or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the thing is, like, yeah, so they dropped that with season 6 part 2, right? They gave some very brief sneak peeks of season 6 part 3. And this is like the kind of only time I really talk about part 3 without spoilers and leaks and stuff like that, just to kind of give fair game. So if it's anything official put out, I'll discuss it. So John Hurwitz, one of the big three, one of the creators and showrunners of Cobra Kai, he said that they are going to do there are going to be some answers with Miyagi. And then right after he said that, they showed a clip of Daniel fighting all these guys dressed as skeletons at night at the Miyagi-Do dojo, and there's like fog and stuff and whatnot. So very reminiscent of the Halloween scene in Karate Kid Part 1. So I think so yeah, it's gonna be one of those things that's, I think there will be some answers, and I feel like the show's not gonna end without answers. As far as Jackie Chan, I don't know how well they'll set up Karate Kid Legends. I know from what I've heard, and I could be wrong on this, they're saying that Karate Kid Part Legends is going to take place after Cobra Kai. They didn't specify like what the time skip is or anything like that. So, but yeah, so I think the Miyagi answers are going to be elaborated on a little bit more in Part 3. So, and hopefully, I would love for them to do a Miyagi spinoff. I think that's like easily, and I was telling Drew this earlier, like if I were the guy in charge of writing the Miyagi show for Netflix, what I would do is I would kind of have it cut back and forth, where, because like say it's gonna be where it takes place like right when Miyagi leaves Okinawa and then up to the events of Karate Kid Part 1. I would personally like cut back and forth, not between Miyagi and Sato, and also kind of slowly elaborate on Kim Sung Young too, because we know he and Sato had beef. So that's what I that's what I would do.
That's yeah, I'm honestly, I'm super excited for the Miyagi show, especially because like the guy playing younger Miyagi looks just like him. Like, it is insane.
Yeah.
Like, it is, and that just puts all the trust in the world for me to like know that they're gonna do a good job just by the casting of Miyagi by himself.
Right. Exactly. Let's see. Let me see if I have any questions here in the chat. Golden Switch, welcome in. I've actually shown my face before on live stream. It's just I don't do live streams super often. As far as that goes, this is kind of a test live streams. So far, people have been enjoying coming up and discussing, which I'm happy for that too. Sneak peek and leaks are not the same. Yeah, exactly. I prefer any official information like that Netflix puts out, I'll talk about and stuff like that. So, and yes, I agreed. They mentioned that Julie Pierce have met Daniel at Miyagi's funeral and whatnot. We have a question here from and forgive me, I've been butchering your name all day, all Phil. I'm sorry. 2 questions here. So Arm Goes Boom. What will Hawk's path be without college? What do you see his? What do you think he would do if, say, he didn't get into college? Period. Hawk.
I mean, honestly, I don't see Hawk not going into college.
Mhm.
Like he's not he's far from being, you know, a dumb kid or anything and stuff like that. He's clearly very smart. And he has goals, but he just MIT just isn't what he wants anymore. Or at least at the moment.
Right.
We don't know if that's going to change later down the road or if he wants to, you know, have a little bit more time to explore who he is, party a little more, enjoy things like at a community college or at like another college like in the valley, before, you know, going, okay, I've had my fun now it's time to get serious.
Right.
But if he doesn't go that route of college, I could see him being an instructor under Johnny Lawrence whenever he takes over Miyagi-Do.
Right. Yeah, no, I could definitely see that happening too. I could definitely see him being an instructor. I also personally couldn't see him not going to a college. I think though, like if anything, even if he's not an instructor for the for Miyagi-Do, right? I could also kind of see him being like a I don't know why. I could also kind of see him being like a school teacher, as far as that goes. So
I was literally thinking counselor in my head.
yeah, that would also work too. Holy crap, y'all want me to cover One Piece? God, dog.
Dude, I recently started watching One Piece. I'm on like episode 285, and honestly, it's so good.
See, I know the show's good, but I also just like I know there's like a lot of episodes, and I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I even want to like go down that rabbit hole, as far as like that. So, go ahead.
I will say, the best way that I would watch One Piece, and this might be a hot take, watch episodes 1 through 9, figure out who Usopp is, skip to episode 18, and then go from there, because his arc is arguably very, very boring, and it kind of like hits at like a wall, because the enemies aren't very interesting, and also like Usopp's not meant to be a liked character. So I like when I was watching it, I was like, wow, this feels like I'm being punished for trying to watch something. But when you go through that and get through that arc, then it just gets it just stays consistently so good, and it gets better and better.
Right.
So I would definitely I understand it is a chore to like start
Right.
it, but getting into it and actually like once you get to Skypiea, you're locked in.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's something I'll have to definitely consider. Chat, if you're listening, let me know what you guys think of Arm Goes Boom approach to the One Piece. I'm also kind of curious to hear from some other fans as well. And then I have a last question for you. I'm gonna let the next person come up. So this was something else I didn't mention, but it's also part of the official information Netflix put out. So another sneak peek they showed of part 3. They show Robbie and Axel fighting again, and Robbie actually lands a kick, right? But it's not at the Sekai Tekai in Barcelona. It's actually at the All Valley, and it's confirmed it's at the All Valley because you can see one of the yellow flags from the All Valley Sports Arena cut off, but you also see like some of the other team banners that were there. You also see the Sekai Tekai banner in the background. So apparently they're finishing this tournament at the All Valley. So Ryan's question is, how do you think they'll explain why they're going back to the All Valley?
Wow, that is a hard question.
Same, and yeah, I'm still confused myself. So, but feel free to spitball something.
I would say, honestly, I think what's gonna happen is that after Quan getting stabbing himself and dying and everything, they're probably gonna think about like shutting down the Sekai Tekai.
Right.
But like possibly Terry Silver refuses that and is like, no, we could continue to host it over here. I feel him jumping into it and being like, no, we need to finish this. Like we could go to this other place, where that Russian team won't even know where it's at, and they could finish it there, or no crazy distractions or anything.
Right.
Or like they just have a meeting and decide and figure out if they want to continue or not, but Barcelona kicks them out, and it's like, no, you just killed a kid, like get out of here.
Right. Yeah, no, those are some interesting points for sure. So, But hey, man, it was good catching up with you as always. I'm gonna bring the next person up, so I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Of course. All right, I'll see you later.
See ya.
All right, we have Spider Light, first time on the show. Spider Light, what's going on, man? How are you doing?
I am really coming down, dude. I binge watched all the freaking episodes, like from part 2 yesterday, all day. Whenever I had a break, it was like back to Cobra Kai,
Right.
work, back to Cobra Kai, work, and then back to Cobra Kai. Unfreaking believable, bro.
For sure.
Literally 1,000 out of 10. And one more thing, thank you very much for all that you do in those character analysis.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Much appreciative, man.
Yeah.
Big ups. Well wishes to you on that yellow belt, man. You got this.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Do you have what was your favorite part? It doesn't have to be fight related of part 2.
The first thing that comes up, it would have to be the big meeting when all of them are like finally getting together and they're airing out their grievances, they're airing out their differences, and finally they're creating that peace for themselves, because Miyagi-Do, it's all about that balance, my friend.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. That was easily one of my favorite parts of probably the favorite non-fight part for sure. So
I mean that it's like it kind of could have been like an ending right there, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Considering the situation.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, for sure. Yeah, it's I personally like to think that they weren't acting in that scene, and that was kind of like their own like kind of farewell, considering that like how many years a lot of them been in the cast. I mean, they started filming the show I think in like the end of 2017, back in the YouTube days and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a really cool send off. Is there? Let me just check the chat here for some questions. Throw some here. Ty, welcome in. Is there anything you would change or have them elaborate on part 2 that you wish you would have seen more of?
That's a really tough question to ask, because for the most part, first and foremost, I was disappointed with part 1. This part 2 is such a huge improvement over everything, but it's like, it's tough to say because there's all this controversy surrounding Miyagi, and then there's the deep fake, and it's like this back and forth that it's like, let's not put too much into this.
Right.
That's the thing. It's like, I love the writers. Let's give them props, but it's like, we gotta save some room, because let's not put too. It's like having that trouble with putting how much of Miyagi do you want to put into the story, and not to mention, who is this show really about? Is it focusing on Miyagi, or is it about the new generation?
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, you're trying to have it like the pun intended balance, so to speak. I have a question here from the chat. Phil asked, this is a big what if, but how would the events of this whole series this was tough. How will the whole events of the whole series change with Mr. Miyagi being alive during these events? So let's kind of make it easy, because obviously it's like a really big question. What are 2 key events do you think would change in the show if Mr. Miyagi was still alive?
LaRusso would be a lot less of a, I'm gonna not curse, but I'm gonna use the term jerk to Johnny.
Right.
Stop letting this fear of Cobra Kai, stop being so triggered by it, and they would have gone along much quicker, much faster. And I don't think there would have been as much drama between him and LaRusso, because if there's one thing that I am getting sick and tired of through all these past seasons, was this back and forth between LaRusso and Johnny. And you got LaRusso, it's like Johnny was the bully back then, but now LaRusso, the good guy, is now the jerk.
Yeah.
All because of this fear and all these unresolved issues.
Right. And this is something I haven't really publicly said, but I think one of my last videos I'll probably ever do on Cobra Kai, like in the future after part 3, is like what Cobra Kai is really about. And I think a lot of people don't realize that one of the things that it's about is generational trauma, because you think about all these things that are passed down, right? Like from Kim Sung-young to Master Kreese to Johnny to Tori, going from that, even to an extent Miyagi to Daniel, like some things that weren't resolved as far as that goes. And from Daniel, how he's teaching things to his own Miyagi-Do students too, like because of not having like the clear picture of things like that. To answer your question, sorry, go ahead.
it's like I want to add on to it because
Sure.
I'm not disagreeing. It's like the emphasis on what defines balance.
Yeah.
To becoming well balanced. It's not about exactly light and dark per se, but to really stay grounded and to stay whole to those principles. Because be aware, LaRusso was so anti-offense, and then Chosen comes along and shows him all these new moves that were based in the quote unquote Miyagi-Do, even though it's just a name. It's more like based upon previous teachings.
Right. Excuse me. Exactly. And I think to answer your question, Alphil, some of the things. So I kind of talked about that. You guys haven't checked it out yet. I think the video I did this like a year ago, was like the Karate Kid movie we almost had. So there was a fifth film that Miyagi pitched to William Zabka, where Mr. Miyagi was going to pass away in the movie, more likely, or near the end of the movie, but he was going to take Johnny under his wing, and Johnny, instead of going down the spiraling path, he was actually going to be Mr. Miyagi's doctor. Like, he actually went to medical school and stuff like that. And so, like, I talked about some of the key things that would kind of change. Obviously, like you said, Spider, Johnny Daniel would be kind of like amended and things like that. I don't know. I'm not even sure if Kreese would return either, because Johnny would never reopen Cobra Kai. And like, it kind of sounds funny saying this, but like, Cobra Kai all depends on Johnny's inability to not move on from the past, basically. So
I mean, I think there would have been a moment, because he is a doctor, and how Kreese, he's got some PTSD. He could have been examined, and he would have been like, come back,
yeah,
so to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
But for sure, one thing I want to share is that I don't think we've had a moment where Johnny actually thanked Mr. Miyagi for what he did for saving his life, and I'm hoping that could there be a scene where all the students actually go visit Mr. Miyagi, even though at his grave, and just be like a final bow.
Yeah.
And I mean everybody, just a final bow, and just fade to black like that.
Dude, that would be really a really good way to end the series. And yeah, the thing too is just like so to kind of go back to your question, part one. So obviously I like part two better than part one, right? But I also think a lot of people were trying to jump ahead. I was like, well, this is only like one piece of the puzzle. I said, let's kind of give them a little bit of grace. But one of the things too that I talked about, like when I was talking about Johnny kind of being a hypocrite for calling Miyagi a liar and a thief, I was like, well, you did those same things. So it's just like, it's a little questionable for you to say that about the man that saved your life. So, and things like that. And like a lot of people also don't realize, which one of the first videos I ever put out was that Johnny was modeled on Mr. Miyagi down to a T. They even teased the whole complications at birth, that I called about 2 years ago and things like that. So I think it's maybe the show will kind of like address that, even though it'd be kind of like breaking the fourth wall of like, hey, yeah, Johnny, you had more in common with Mr. Miyagi than you thought. So that would have been pretty interesting if they do something like that. So
I'm just speechless for the moment.
You're good. You're good.
No, because as I said, it's not only that. It's like Johnny he wasn't really communicating his words properly. I feel like his intention was, Russo, stop putting him on a freaking pedestal.
Right.
We get it. You love him. He's your father figure. He came in to fill the void, but you gotta stop. Nobody's freaking perfect. And he just didn't choose his words carefully as much as he should have been. Other than that, as I said, it's like I really desire for a moment for him to have the moment to just say, thank you for saving my life. Because there was, to the best of my knowledge, there was no real interaction after that.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I also, just to kind of clarify my statement too, Johnny was right to call out Daniel for putting him on a pedestal too. That's definitely, I agree with that too. One thing I also noted too, like up until that point, that was the only time Johnny also spoke ill of Miyagi. If you rewatch every scene where Kreese mentioned Miyagi or somebody else mentioned Miyagi, Johnny never says or acknowledges anything bad about it. And I think, and I'm kind of glad that they finally addressed that in season 4, episode 2, where they have that flashback where Johnny realized, hey, Miyagi-Do saved my life and things like that. So we have another question from the chat, from another one from Allphil. He's been giving all kinds of good questions all day. How would they handle Quan's funeral? Do they waste time showing it on screen or they just skip it? That's a good question.
That is a good question, but at the same time, he wasn't exactly the nicest person, brother. He was really showing him. It's like we have to remind ourselves these are actors who are adults, but they're portraying children, and we have to remind ourselves we have to see it through the eyes of a teenager. I think they should have a moment where it's like everybody has a moment to be like, okay, we'll give a silence. Maybe if there is going to be a funeral, there will be a moment. But from there, it's like there may be some quarrel with that because even as I'm speaking to you right now, I mean, be aware he's the one who chose to pick up the knife and make an attempt at taking somebody else's life. And be aware, as Kreese once said at the end of season 2, when he took over the dojo, I will never let any of my students lose, even if they have to learn the hard way.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Remember that.
Yep.
And be aware, it's like Kreese and Silver, when it all went down, it's like they're both looking so shocked. And I'm like, well, you said no mercy.
Yep.
You said that, and now...
That's something I'm going to address in the video tonight too. Is that that was also one of the very few times that Kreese has shown regret. Like the only other time that I can think of the top of my head that I've seen him doing that is what was it? It was season 2, maybe episode 4 or 5. It's where Johnny catches him at the homeless shelter when they're like talking, when he's talking about his past, and there's this thing where he does like this thing in one of the shots where he like closes his eyes and he almost like kind of come into tears and stuff like that. So that's like one of the few times that Kreese has ever shown regret. So no, I agree. That's gonna be that's a point I hadn't considered.
And believe me, brother, I thought for a second there, Kreese was gonna be at one point Grandpa Kreese, but unfortunately he made his choice, and it's just heartbreaking. I mean, he came. It's like that moment that you're discussing. It's like, oh yeah, I got these issues now, and now I can't function properly because of all these things, and my pseudo son Johnny hates me.
Right. Yeah. It's one of those things that's some comments here in the chat. Oh my god, chat with the inside joke. Stryfe showing us what real work looks like. That's inside joke. Another community inside joke. Somebody said you had a good point. Okay, yeah. Allfield said Spider is right. That feud among them felt tiring, way overdone. Both have shared a ton of moments now. I think this was about Daniel and Johnny at long indefinitely. That's Ryan. I said this too as a meme the other day. If Miguel's grandma never had diarrhea, then there would be no first episode. That's very true. Very, very true. So then here's a question that I'll just kind of spitball out there. Well, 2 questions. So I've seen this theory that people were saying that it's Sam's fault that Quan died because Sam should have never befriended. Okay, see, I'm not the only one that's thinking like these people that overly hating Sam is so dumb. I swear to God, this is a real thing I've seen floating around. Sam never been involved with Axel wouldn't have come to her aid, and Quan would have never picked up the knife.
Okay, to the Cobra Kai universe, let this go. Stop with the Sam hate,
dude. It's so ridiculous.
If you're an adult now, please remember when you were a teenager, you were not. Nobody's perfect. This show emphasized imperfections, and the notion of Miyagi Do is to create balance.
Yep.
So there's build up, like to really build yourself up in terms of character. Man, I am really getting tired of this.
Dude, yeah, it's so like. See, the thing is, like, for me, right? Like, Sam was never a favorite character of mine, but I didn't go like say like, oh, she's involved, like, And I said this earlier in the stream too, that like a lot of people forget that in season 2, Miguel was the one constantly pursuing Sam. He used Aisha's phone to call her. There was the whole trying to return the Medal of Honor thing. He was trying to do this slideshow that Tori said don't do. So anyway, that aside, yeah, some of this kind of crazy, but I mean, at the end of the day, Axel was just defending. Oh, go ahead. What's up?
Oh, I was gonna be like, next question, let's go.
yeah, next question. So
nah, it's like, as I said, dude, it's like, can we just stop with the Sam hate? And yes, she, what's his name, or shall I say, Ivan Drago 2.0, who decided to protect her. And it's like, look, stop.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just crazy. Do you think these fights top some of the pretty much like in part two? Do you think they're some of the best in the series, or is there a show from the previous season, or excuse me, a fight from the previous season you think that's still up there?
All right, so I'm gonna give you some context. I discovered that I did not take this show seriously at all. And I think you can understand why, considering all the nostalgia shows that came out. I discovered it by watching a clip of the high school fight over from season 2, and I got hooked. So to say that this topped it up, does this recent brawl, the Sekai Tekai, really topped it off? I'm gonna have to say yes, because they created something that was different. We're talking about a group, a team dynamic. People are tagging in wrestling.
Yep, exactly.
And then there's the fact that we are being exposed to multiple styles of martial arts.
Yep.
Different fighters, size, height, you know what I'm talking about. And we have an elevated platform. My God, what is this? This is like TLC stuff from WWE, yo.
Right.
What
exactly.
is this? Like, they gave it, the Sekai Tekai, its own freaking identity.
Right.
And that's why I considered, like, the tournament aspect was great, but no disrespect to the creators, I'm getting tired of the brawls. I thought it's like, dude, it was just the Russians.
Yeah.
Why is everybody suddenly going nuts?
Right. Yeah, I think so they're not the first person to say that. Some people said they weren't like a fan of like or the fan of another brawl. And I can see that. For me, to kind of like playing devil's advocate to defend the brawl, as you mentioned WWE, I've said, like, you know, in numerous times, like in comments or like in some of my previous videos, that like one of the reasons why Cobra Kai works is because it's written like a wrestling show. Like, you have like those ambiguous wins. Like, for example, Hawk and Robbie could have gone either way in season 4. And then the fact that Kenny kind of, even though Hawk never really forfeited, Kenny won the Sekai Tekai qualifier and stuff like that. So I think the brawl worked in the sense that, like, Robbie didn't necessarily have, obviously he was losing to Axel, but he didn't lose to Axel because the fight got interrupted. Not to mention then, you know, Sensei Wolf almost pretty much like knocked out Daniel, but then, you know, those guys came in and stuff like that. So it's I think it served its purpose as far as that goes, and things like that. So we have another question from Allphil. What are y'all's favorite #1 moments from each? Ooh, that's crazy. Any scene in particular changed your perception in life? Okay, we'll go with this one. Is there a specific Cobra Kai scene that changed your perception in life?
Perception in life. I mean, when things got started and we were heading into season 2 for sure, but at the same time, I really liked how, you know, you got Hawk, who went from being bullied to being the bully himself, and then he went back. It's like someone, I don't know if it was you or somebody else who wrote, events don't have to repeat themselves.
Oh yeah, that was my tagline for the thumbnail. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
It was, as someone once stated in an analysis video when it came to the first 2 seasons of Cobra Kai, his final words as he ended this video, he said, "The truth is, no one system, philosophy, or practice can be applied to in every situation. Sometimes you got to go this way, sometimes you got to go that way." And a guy made a comment by saying, Cobra Kai teaches you how to fight, but Miyagi-Do teaches you when to fight. And it's like, when you really take a good look at the underlying philosophical, you know, message that it's trying to like show you and stuff like that. And it's just, I don't know. I'm gonna end it like right there, brother.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Man, see that for me. Wait, who asked that question? I think it was Allphil. That's still a tough. For me, I think the most impactful one, the one that I kind of remember the most, is probably Miyagi's letter in season 3. Like the fact that, like, even the most, because that really kind of teaches you not to really put people on pedestal, in the sense of, you know, it showed us like Miyagi still had his fears, his questions and stuff at times. Like that was like the moment that really like made me like kind of cry like a baby when I first saw that thing. It was just really, really impactful. So that really changed my perspective on life, I would say.
And to add on to that, when Chosen showed up and how many of us were actually scared of what was about to go down?
Oh yeah.
And then he's like bowing out of respect, and they were like, whoa, okay, somebody changed for the better. We're seeing that for sure, and it's like, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So
You know?
yeah, I'm gonna open the floor to one last person if anybody wants to come up. And when I'll probably shut the live stream down here too. But I appreciate all the discussion everybody has been given today. My final question is, and if I've asked this already, then I'll ask you another question. What are you looking forward to the most in part 3?
I'm gonna have to say it would have to be a proper ending, man. To really just give us a very healthy, proper ending that's gonna stick the landing.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thing. And as far as future stories are concerned, it's like, give us some specials, like a story update on certain characters. It's like, show us Johnny actually taking over Miyagi-Do, and then eventually Robbie is the one who's going to be the head teacher.
Right.
Like stuff like that. But it's like, just give us a proper, just stick the landing, please.
Yeah.
For a show like this. They really deserve that. The actors do. Us, the fans who have supported it. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, no, that would, yeah, I think that's the main, like for me, that's also the main thing I'm kind of looking forward to in part 3. It's just like, okay, if part 2 ended like this, then part 3 needs to be just as impactful, if not even more, as far as like that, because that's kind of a pretty big bar that they've kind of raised as far as that goes. So, but yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to it, especially with the sneak previews they showed on Netflix already. So,
I missed out on that one. I gotta look that up.
Do you want me to go? You want me to tell you a little bit, or do you want to watch for yourself? It's up to you.
I'm gonna look it up because I thought I saw some things popping up, and I thought it could have been a fake, bro.
I'm not. So me personally, I try not to discuss leaks and stuff on the channel, but this is all stuff that's put out on Netflix. So if you go to the Cobra Kai section on Netflix, watch Cobra Kai Inside the Dojo Part 2. There's some very brief sneak peeks at Part 3. So.
Inside the Dojo Part 2. All right, noted, brother.
So, all right, Spider. Hey, good discussion, man. I appreciate you coming up. I'm gonna drop you down and then come up anytime. All right.
Go get that yellow belt, brother.
All right, man. Water. I appreciate it. See ya. All right, guys. I'm gonna have the floor open for one last person to come up, if you guys like, and then I'll probably shut the stream down as far as that goes. Put some music back on here while we wait. I'm gonna catch up to the comments here. Cayenne, welcome in. Let's see. Yep. Trying to make sure I didn't. The whole hating Sam. Yeah, it's so dumb, dude. I don't get the over hate. Quan is a victim of circumstance. That's a good point. If Allie ended up with Johnny, Allie's parents would have been very disappointed. Yeah, I agree with that. So stay resilient, everyone. Kim Sung Young is the most youthful centurion in the world. Yeah, shout out to CS Lee, man, for shouting out my video. That was very unexpected. I was not expecting that at all. I just kind of threw that out and see if he would shout, you know, if you would notice it or something like that. I love how people play with the mental gymnastics to the point where they blame Sam of all. Dude, I'm like, come on, bro. Like, get that out of here. So. Let's see. I appreciate everybody that, of course, that's just talk. You know, just whether you come up with discussion or if you're just leaving comments on the chat. I appreciate it. Appreciate all the super chats as well. Let's see. Scorch says one of the best scenes in season 6 where Miguel encounters Daniel and Johnny on the beach. He inspires them to cooperate again for the good of the team. Yeah, that was very, very nice and very fitting, considering that Miguel kind of has both of those good qualities and things like that. So. A what if episode of Johnny beating Daniel at the tournament would be good. That would be interesting. I don't think I've seen a lot of people do that. How does it feel to be the king? I am not a king on the Cobra Kai content. There's a lot of people out there that have more subs than me that are in the Cobra Kai space. I'm thankful just to have people support my work. Quan was a ticking time bomb who blew up on himself. Yes, that is correct. Very correct. Unfortunately, it's just the circumstances, Radu would say, of like the, you know, following that philosophy. Ana Mauricio, welcome in. Golden Switch. Yes, that scene was crazy. Very, very crazy. Let's see. Lil D, go get him. What's going on? Wish Dimitri died. So I wish Dimitri died so he wouldn't go to MIT. God, that's some Dimitri haters, bro. That's crazy, man. If you ever get the time, check out the anime called Monster by Naoki Urasawa. Okay, I will have to definitely keep that in mind. It also looks like I'm covering One Piece, guys, so I guess I'm gonna have to commit to that. I feel sad seeing the cast split away for so many years. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting for sure. You are King Cobra. You are the GOAT. I appreciate that, man. Let's see. Wolf or Johnny? I don't know, man. Wolf kind of gave him a pretty good run for his money, so I think Wolf beats either Johnny and Daniel at this point from what we've seen. I feel like Miguel and Sam are gonna end up together, sort of like mirroring Daniel with all his previous part. Ooh, that'd be an interesting take. Axel's not careful; he's gonna end up like Drago from Creed 2. Oh snap! That's a good question. That's a good point. If you were in season 1, who do you think you could take? Oh man. Like, okay, but here's a question: like, as my current age, or if I was a teenager? Because I'm way older than the Cobra Kai cast. That's the main thing. Even though I may not look like it, I kind of am. So, if I was current belt level is a teen. Season 1, probably Kyler easily. I think I could get Kyler on for his money. Oh, welcome in. Jackie Chan gonna be in part 3. It's hard to say that. Stryfe looks young because he doesn't rock the beard. I have trouble growing facial hair. Like I can kind of grow a mustache, but like it gets like patchy like right here and right here. So that's why I just typically just shave. But over the years, I finally started kind of filling out some more hair as far as that goes. He's too big for one episode. Aren't you like 21, man? You're very flattering as far as that goes. I think if I lost some more weight, I'd probably look more 21. So. But no, this stream went really well, guys. I'm glad that you guys like. If you guys like it, you know, I'll run another poll for everybody that's in here. Listen, let's see. Let the poll speak for itself. Oh, okay. I was like, crap. I thought I ended the thing. If you'd pick members from Cobra Kai to be in the Young Avengers, who would be on your team? How many members do I get, Cayenne? W. Netflix could have the budget for Julie, for sure. He too big for one episode. Oh, Jackie. Yeah, not me. I'm not too big for episode. I was like, that's a compliment, Ryan. I guess that's the main question. I feel bad because I haven't seen Avengers in a while. How many members are Avengers? Six on the team? 7? Six to start. Have I ever tried a Diet Dr. Pepper? Jorge, welcome in with an Uncrustable. I've never, you know, so this is going to sound crazy. I'm going to blow everybody's mind right here. I've never had an Uncrustable. That must have been like a more recent thing because I've never had that. That was never a thing. It was just peanut butter and jelly, basically. So, okay, 6 Young Avengers. Let's see. Rudy, thank you for the super chat, man, with the Cobra Kai never dies, man. I appreciate that. Kyan, to answer your question, I would probably pick Robbie, Miguel, Hawk, Sam, Tori, Dimitri from Brains. Oh, 8. And I'm assuming you're going by the kids. Then the last one would be Quan and Kenny, I would say. Okay. If you ever to sum up Cobra Kai into one moral lesson, what would you say? Never put passion before principle. Even if you win, you lose. I think that's the best lesson. Favorite poster art? Probably season 4. It was very simple and very, very cool. So Shang-Chi as a teen, he'd be actually probably makes it one of the OG characters who died in hindsight. Yeah, you know, I think that was kind of for the best, not to do an established character. Stop stealing our women. You need the counterparts to be grown Avengers team with good choices. For sure. Agreed. Make sure nobody else has hit the link. I'm always paranoid because I've had like people waiting in the back. I'm like, no, don't do it. So yeah, no, this was a fun stream. I felt a lot better. I'm kind of glad I stayed awake because I was really, guys, you had no idea how tired I was before the stream. Like, I kind of woke up, like, as I mentioned at the start of the stream, I was kind of I've been fighting a sore throat and cold like the past 2-3 days. And like, I've been really protecting my voice as much as I could to kind of get like videos out and stuff like that. So, yeah, I pretty much did everything I could today. I went to Taekwondo this morning. I really didn't want to, but I was like, man, I really don't want to miss class and just, you know, have it become like an issue if I'm testing. So, thankfully now I'm a lot better. I took some medicine, did a nasal rinse, drink some liquid IV. I feel a lot better, so I kind of feel confident I can kind of get that video out either tonight or early tomorrow morning. So thankfully the sore throat's gone. I think it's just now like the thing. I went to the doctor the other day and thankfully it wasn't strep, flu, or COVID. So, by the way, keen listeners will know this is a Camby theme remix from Street Fighter in the background. Excuse me. So I feel a lot better. So I'll probably work on the video, kind of go from there. Trying to think. Let's see. Phil, did you have any experience on YouTube prior to starting this channel? I did, actually. So believe it or not, this is, and I'm going to use this, and I'll explain why. This is technically my 3rd channel that I started. So years ago, when I was a teenager in the early years of YouTube, like 06, 07, I kind of did some gameplay videos. No, well, take that back. This is technically my 4th channel. So I did that. After that, senior year of high school, I made some fan films, some short film work, like in 08, 09, with some friends from high school. That shut that channel down. Then technically, this channel was originally a voice acting channel where I did like fan dubs and stuff back in the day. Actually, before I did my first Cobra Kai essay, for those that were subbed to my channel, I actually had some of my old work on there. And then the Cobra Kai thing took off, and here we are. So I've been editing on and off for like almost 20 years. I don't know how to do like a lot of crazy edits, but I've been able to kind of do some stuff here and there. Honestly, it's just been a culmination of different skills with writing and voice acting and things like that. Yeah, and really, Charles, who is still in here, you can thank him for a lot of the good audio mixing as of late and helped me coach through like how to get to my script and stuff like that. That's really all. So thank you, Alphil. So yeah, now also before I was doing the Cobra Kai work, I did do some like voiceover for another channel, but I just kind of got tired of it and whatnot. And it was like, and then some of you guys noticed in my early videos, I used to talk real high pitched like this because like I was told I had a monotone voice, and it just, you know, I just kind of did away with that style and whatnot. So, yeah, it's been interesting, kind of like, you know, how my videos have evolved, and I'm also going to be trying to remaster a lot of my videos as kind of a send-off for Cobra Kai as well. So yeah, the guy that played Sandra Stone from Topanga, he was a legit martial artist for sure. So biggest W from covering Cobra Kai, I would say having the actors actually know who I am. That's crazy to me, because I'm just like, man, I'm just some dude, you know. I'm just a guy opinionated on some characters of a fictional show. But it's just kind of cool just to have people know that. So favorite character from Karate Kid, Ramiro says Daniel, Miyagi, Miguel, Robbie, Samantha, Devin, Dimitri, Mitch, and Chris. Those are also good too. So we appreciate you some, dude. Yeah. Let's end the poll. Dang, 100% said do this stream again in about a month. 18 of y'all, and that's most of y'all that's watching right now. That's crazy, man. So I'll definitely try to do this again. I think I like the discussion aspect. It was kind of cool hearing different perspectives and things like that. So he ain't nobody.
Huh?
So yeah, I'm gonna end it for now. I'm gonna probably get some food, work on the next video, and kind of go from there and things like that. So I gotta put on my ending song. What the hell am I doing? So yeah, I appreciate everybody that tuned in. Thanks again for coming. When will you stream? Probably in a month or so. I'm gonna try to do these once a month, just because, and maybe I'll have like some different topics and stuff like that. But yeah, appreciate everybody. Thanks again for all the super chats, the chats and comments. You guys stay beautiful, stay awesome. We'll catch you around next time.